Welcome to Savva Talk Spurs. This is Graham. Hello, Graham.
Good afternoon. How are we all?
Good. And this is Savva. You meant to say this is Savva. It's like Ant and Dec.
Are you Savva?
Like a little bit of Ant and Dec.
Well, I'll be Dec.
Yeah, you be Dec. I'll be Ant. Okay. Good afternoon to you all. Hope everyone is well. It is a bloody hot day, isn't it? It's really, really hot. We are here. Graham, myself, Frank, and Stewie are in tow. For anyone who knows about Frank and Stewie, they are here as well. And we are going to be talking about Tottenham Hotspur. So today we're going to talk about Jed Spence signing that has just happened. We're going to talk about the possibility of James Maddison and Paqueta are the two names I'm seeing around. Do I believe it? Not really, but we'll discuss those options, Graham. And we are also going to look at Graham's top 10 Spurs strikers of all time and his top 10 centre-backs at Spurs of all time. So these are Graham's choices. You can't have a go at him. They're his choices. He's been around a lot longer than you. So please keep it respectful. Yes. Before we start, all I would say is everybody, please smash the like button. It really, really does help. As always, any super chats, any super stickers, the revenue goes to the British Heart Foundation, or should I say 50% does, because these things are very important.
Very good cause.
Very good cause. So let's start off by seeing who's in. We've got PB and Jam. He's got a football game tonight. We wish him luck with that. Daryl Denton is doing a fantasy Premier League team. If anyone wants to join, there is the code. I've said good luck there. Luan has said big up Savva and Graham. Absolute legends, Graham. Yes, we're legends.
We are.
Legend. I'll take that. And Luan has also said hello to everyone else who aren't legends. The hottest Spurs in the place. He says big up everyone. I know we've had doubts about Spence, but I reckon we should all get behind the lad now, at least until he proves the haters right or wrong. We're going to talk about this first. But what I would say is I don't think the word is haters. I feel like if you say you don't want a player to sign as the first option, doesn't mean you hate them. So I think the word haters is wrong. Tafster one has said thoughts on Brian Gill. The lad's clearly got talent. Do you think he's a little lightweight for the Premier League? Graham, we can discuss that in due course. Luan has said, what I just don't understand is that Antonio Conte signed a player to the left wing back position who has won almost everything possible, to then signing a player to the other side who hasn't won anything. Weird. We will discuss that. My point is that Jed Spence is not a Conte signing. Not a chance. Full Ball has said, Savva, the Spence deal is off. We're getting Reece James. Absolutely. Full Ball, just so you know, I finished watching Stranger Things last night. And I'm very disappointed to know I've got to wait 2 years for the next season. Paul has said, good afternoon, Graham, Savva and chat. Good afternoon to you. Yan071 has said, Brian Gill, a 21-year-old, he should be in his prime. He's nowhere near a starter for Spurs. We're going to talk about that. One of the things I want to talk about as we go on, Graham, is what constitutes as young. Young could, we won't go into this right now, but you could say 21, he's young. Then again, Erling Haaland's 21. Reece James must be 20. So we'll look into that in a minute. The coach Silva, hello coach, hope you are getting well. Much love to Coach Silva, who has had a couple of huge operations in the last few weeks. Hope you are well, hope you're recovering. Full Ball has said my top 5 strikers are Defoe, Bent, Crouch, Soldado and Canute. Full Ball is a bit of a wind-up, just so
many
you
of those
know.
on my list.
We have a Middlesbrough fan in the chat who has said, see you, Jed, finally. So a Borough fan, Jay, we will be speaking to you a bit more as the show goes on to find out why. Why is it finally farewell? Doubters, Hotspur Spurs. We're going to talk about it in a minute. I don't even think it's doubters. I think it's about ambition. Jordan Ianson, big up the lads. Jordan, how are you, sir? Hope you are well. I am looking forward to seeing you at the wedding. And just so you know, neither of you know this yet, you're going to be on a table with this guy at the wedding.
Really?
Yeah, Graham's on with Jordan, and you've got a few other people you know on the table
Jordan
as well.
Doesn't eat much.
He drinks a lot, or tries to.
Do that.
Ian, the Mad Darlow fan, has said, hi guys, please don't get long COVID symptoms. I've had the symptoms for 9 months now with no major improvements. You feel like a prisoner in your own home. Sorry to hear that, Ian.
Utmost sympathy, mate.
Hope you start to feel better soon and can get down to where did Darlington play?
Darlington play in Conference North?
No, Stadium.
Feetums.
Feetums.
It used to be Feetums.
Is it still the Feetums, Ian?
Great name, Feetums.
Graham and I'm not sure, I speak for both of us. About 10 years ago, Graham and our party trick was we used to be able to do every one of the 92 league grounds. I'm not sure I can anymore, but maybe that's a good chat.
I used to do the Scottish teams as well. All the Scottish group. Well, we used to play in a quiz, and every week they got questions about Scottish football. So I just learnt all the grounds. Every week I got 2 points and the bonus point as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Full Baller said, if you're into watching ball girls killing people, then yes, that's talking about Stranger Things. Very good TV show. I really, really liked it. Ian has said, if you're 21, if you're over 21, you're an adult and you are not young anymore. Simple. We will talk about this. And Jordan has said, "What? Get me and the G-Dog. Yeah, you'll be sitting together.
G-Dog?
I won't tell you the name of your table, but all of my tables at my wedding are named after Spurs legends." The missus was not happy, but I had to have something about Tottenham in there.
I can tell you all about my great goals I used to score, Jordan.
Brilliant. That's exactly what we want.
That will take the first course.
Right, Graham, let's jump into it. First of all, welcome everybody. Thank you. Let's jump into it. Jed Spence having his medical today. Barring any complete disasters, he's going to be a Tottenham Hotspur player this time tomorrow. Just quickly before we do that, Jordan says it's the Ginola table. Jordan,
absolutely. Oh yeah, is he coming as well?
It's not. The Ginola table is what we're calling the top table. Just so you know. So look, Graham, Jed Spence.
Yes,
I've been very vocal about Jed Spence on WhatsApp groups, on YouTube, on Instagram. And I feel like a lot of what I've said has been misconstrued. I have nothing against Jed Spence, as you know, Graham. I'm not saying the boy won't be a very good player in years to come. My concern with the Jed Spence signing is this is a type of signing we've made for years and years. Clark, Sessegnon, Roden. It's constantly buying these young players that to hope they do well, and then what we get is lots of fans saying, give them time, let them settle. But my understanding, Graham, was that we got Champions League, we got the stadium, we got Antonio Conte, was so that we pushed on and bought ready-made players. So I've got nothing against him. I would have liked to have seen a much better right wing back come in and him be the backup. Where do you stand on this? I think you're slightly different to me on this.
Slightly, yeah, but I can see both sides. It looks as though we're still dealing in the bargain basement, aren't we? We're looking to get people in as cheap as we can. Yes, we'd like a 40 million right wing back. Yes, absolutely. I remember watching him once in one game, and he was absolutely brilliant. Whether it was for Borough, it must have been for Borough. Is he good enough? Who knows? I think you've got to give him time. I don't think you can just miss somebody straight away and say, "Oh, they're no good," and they're not up to it. Yeah. You've got to give him time. I see what you're saying. 12 million. It's not a lot of money, is it? It looks like we're still looking, aren't we, in the British Heart Foundation for our players.
But I mean, Greg, for me, it's not about the money, right?
No.
Whether we're paying 12.5 million, 25 million, for me, it's another risk. Now, some fans will say every signing is a risk, right? And I get that, absolutely. But what I don't understand is this is the type of signing I would expect any other year. Yet fans are telling me, Graham, that Conte's not here just to challenge for fourth. He wants to go for titles. Are we going for titles with players like Jed Spence?
Will Levy ever, all the time he's there, will he ever push the boat out and buy top players? We've heard all this before, all the money that's coming in will go straight back into the team. We're still doing the same things, aren't we? We're still looking to beat. Can we get some? We've had a couple of free transfers, albeit decent players. Another 12 million one. The end of the window, it'll probably be net spend about the same, and it'd be about 0 or 5 million either way. I don't think it's ever going to change, really. But the other thing with Spence now, that gives us 3 right wing backs. Now, out the other 2, I don't think many people would disagree that I'd rather keep Doherty and get rid of what's his name, Royal. I would get rid of Royal and keep Doherty without a doubt. I have a horrible feeling that somebody will come in for Doherty and sign him, and we'll be left with Royal again.
Yeah,
which I don't understand, because he's clearly, I mean, to anybody with any knowledge of football at all, would say he's nowhere near good enough. He can't run.
Yeah,
he's not really a wing back, I don't think. So I was hoping Atletico Madrid would take him, to be honest. But so you're going to get Spence. Will he be the number one, or will Doherty be number one and Spence follow? So there's a lot of strange things with that.
That's a good point. See, now this season, we're now at the stage where we've got 3 right wing backs, right? Doherty, Royal, and Spence. Surely you're not going to rotate 3 right wing backs across the season. So for me, I'm like you. I'm now in a position where a year ago, all of us saying, "Oh, well, Doherty's not good enough. We need a top right wing back." Now I'm in a position a year later where I'm going, well, Doherty for me is the number 1 right wing back. Spence should be, I say learning, but Spence should be the understudy, with Royal going out somewhere else.
I'm trying to read Levy's mind here. Which of the other 2, Royal and Doherty, would he get most money coming in? Because you can just see him buying Spence for 12. I can get 18 million for Royal, or I can get 20 million for Doherty, and selling one of those.
Yeah.
The one who gets the most money in. It may come down to that. Who's going to bid the highest for those 2?
Yeah.
And then he's looking good again, isn't he? He's made money on it.
Absolutely.
That's the way it works, obviously.
But 3 of them? Is there a scenario, Graham, in which 3 of them are here come the first week of the season?
No. I don't want to see Royal going to the left and Doherty going to the left and all this sort of thing.
Yeah.
You can't have people on their wrong foot in a wing-back system, I don't think, cutting in at the end. You want crosses coming from the deep positions, don't you?
Yeah. Okay, so when I say Spence, look, what I've seen of Spence, he does look very athletic. Have we frozen? Has anyone else lost us? Have we, Graham? I think we've frozen.
Have we?
Can anyone see us? I feel like we're still live, but I feel like our camera has
Your
frozen.
mouth's open.
Yeah, my mouth is open. Can you all see us? I don't know what has happened there. Have we lost Wi-Fi? We have froze. Once back in. It's all is not going well with this live stream, Graham.
Yeah.
All is not going well. Let's try this. Apologies, everybody. This isn't great, is it? We have completely frozen. 1 second. Right, can you see us now? Are we back? I'm so sorry. I do not know. It was, as Purchase said, this was now a podcast and not a show, but we're back. Graham, this is my thing. I think Jed Spence looks strong, quick, powerful, but I still think that in a Conte system, those 2, either side, are fundamental to how we play, especially without a creative midfielder, which we're going to talk about afterwards before people are asking about who we'd want.
Is he better than Doherty?
For me, at the moment, what is there to suggest he is?
Well, we don't know. We don't. Until he plays, we don't know.
Right.
He did well at Forest last year on loan, obviously. The interesting thing for me is this thing's gone on for ages trying to sign him. Nobody else seems to have tried to gazump it. No one else seems to have come in and tried for him as well. So I don't know whether that you can read something into that.
Yep.
But this has gone on. How many weeks has this gone on for? While they're haggling over about 25p either way. You know?
So here's the next question to you, Graham. And let me ask all of your opinion. We've got 71 people in the chat. Welcome to those 71. 51 of you can't like it. I've only got 21 likes, and there are 71 of you in here.
You're trying the hardest.
Graham, let me, Jordan has said, I know that pug sound. Yes. I don't know if you can see behind us. There is indeed a pug and a French bulldog sitting over there. Apologies.
They should be doing this, shouldn't we? We should be sitting over there.
They should be, but when they hear a noise in the garden, they do go mad. Graham, this is my issue, is that one injury to Perisic. Apologies, people. We are not having a good time with things today.
No.
Graham, you talk one injury to Perisic. Graham, my question to you: one injury to Perisic, and we're back to Sessegnon and Royal or Spence as our wing backs.
Well, that's scary, isn't it? To be honest, I mean, I don't see anything in Sessegnon. I was speaking to a friend of mine the other day who said to me, "Oh, he did really well at the end of last season." Did he? A couple of crosses he got with no one on him. But no, we needed, in the system he plays, those positions are so vital. Right wing back, left wing back. So you've got to have top quality players there. You can't have medium, and they're average, aren't they? Royals average, no more than our bang average.
Yeah.
Sessegnon, as I say, he just looks too rigid for me. So no, we don't want to be back to them after 1 month, do we?
Isn't it strange? Like when you look at Sessegnon, the thing I keep hearing about Sessegnon, Graham. But just before we move on to onto attacking midfielders, I keep hearing that there's a high ceiling, that he's young. But Graham, he's been with us 4 years now, 3.5, 4 years. I don't see what people see when they talk about high ceiling, because I never see him take a man on, ever, which surely is a prerequisite for a wing back. I think his passing, if you watch his passing, it always looks like a hospital pass. He doesn't look confident. Now, how many years do we stick with that, Graham? How many years until you say a player's not good enough versus they're too young? Well,
they obviously do think he's good enough. This is the thing. They do think he's good enough. I'd like to see what percentage of his passes go back to Davis. There's a number of times it's played out to him, and the first thing he does is just knock it back into Davis all the time.
Yeah.
He lacks confidence, clearly. A, is he good enough? I don't think so.
I don't.
And B, he looks totally into the lights, and he doesn't look confident at all. Mm-hmm. I can't see him going past defenders, getting to the byline and clipping it over. He might do it when there's nobody on him, but he just lacks that little bit of zip.
He really does.
And that word I used last week, intensity. I was talking about Liverpool. Is there intensity in his game?
No. For me, I think when somebody that young joins and they're not a first team regular, like a few years back, you think, okay, year to settle in, right? But now he's been with this team for a long time, and I still keep hearing, oh, well, Conte rated him, Jose rated him. But every game I watch him, I really feel he flatters to deceive. I'm not saying he can't be a good player, Graham, but is that the level, Tottenham Hotspur, Champions League, is that where we should be at?
No, we've got to be looking for a much higher level than that.
Right.
But we've got to pay money. And this is the thing, it's all the cheap signings. If you can get them in for next to nothing, you've got to buy quality. We need quality in every position and on the bench. You can't afford to have people who are not good enough.
Absolutely. Come on, guys. 30 likes, 87 of you in here. Get those likes in. Just quickly, the Perchy out there in Barcelona. Is your weather as nice as ours today, Perchy?
It's raining there, I reckon.
I hope so. It is glorious here. He has said high ceiling is the worst phrase in football. Perchy, I agree, because do you know what? No one knows what somebody's ceiling is. So many players, Graham, throughout the years, I've heard the next Gaza, the next Messi, the next Ronaldo, the next so on. And how many of them live up to that hype?
Oh, you get the Hungarian Messi. Someone hungry suddenly passes the ball. Yeah, there's no one else like Messi. He's Messi.
Yeah.
This is high ceiling. I don't know. There's so many terms now. It's left me behind all these terms now. Come on, I'm still back in the 70s. I just don't think he's good enough. I'm sorry. I've watched him enough times now. He's been here long enough.
Yeah, he has.
He just hasn't got that little bit of oomph in him, that drive you need. I know he's not going to be as good as Stuart Pearce. Someone like Pearce, goes straight through and play with tremendous intensity. What
would you say, Graham, though, as a fan base? Look, I can't speak for other fan bases because I'm not on YouTube shows for other fan bases, but it seems to me that when Sessegnon, he crossed for Everton. No, he didn't. He crossed at Leeds and we scored a goal.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, people go, there you go.
He's arrived.
Look at him, he's arrived.
Yeah.
But surely it can't be one good thing every 5 or 6 games, can it? It's got to be this consistent 8 out of 10 performances every week,
people
right?
Are very knee-jerk, aren't they? They do 2 good passes. Right, look, he's here now.
Yeah.
For me, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
But just something lacking there. He lacks that bit of drive, I think.
Can I want to back on from what you just said there, Graham, about proving you wrong. I just want to say as well, for a lot of people saying I hate Jed Spence, not in this chat, but I don't hate Jed Spence. I would love Jed Spence to come in. I will get behind him as a player. I'd love him to come in, and then I turn around in 3, 4, 5, 6 months and go, you know what? He has proved me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. right? It's not that I want him to fail. There's none of that.
If you listen to Warnock, of course, who crossed swords with him at Middlesbrough, he said he's got a very poor attitude. He won't come to Spurs and show a poor attitude because he won't get on the pitch at all.
Yeah,
the Conte influence might bring out another 20-30% of it. I think that's very likely.
Yeah,
he'll get the best or more out of all these players.
Yeah,
who knows? I just get the feeling he's going to do well. I don't know.
So Scott M has made a really good point. He said Trent Alexander-Arnold, Reece James, Cancelo, Walker. That is the level that the top teams have at right wing back. None of Spence, Doherty, Royal are close to Scott. I know we disagreed the other week on some pot stuff, but this is spot on. So when people tell me, Scott, Conte's not here just for top four. Conte's here to win things. Just look at those comparisons there. Look at the difference between Alexander-Arnold, James, Walker, Cancelo. Then look at ours.
Absolute different standards.
Huge. N17, I want to address this point. N17 has said, one injury to Salah, Diaz, Trent, Van Dijk. That's it for Liverpool. What's your point? N17, I can only assume that you've not been watching football for the last 5 years. Liverpool have got a fantastic squad. So, no, one injury to Salah, all of a sudden, their front three is going to be Jota, Diaz and Nunes, right? One injury to Trent and Alexander-Arnold, and they can play Joe Gomez there, right? So, no, it's not. And they've just bought the new, who's the right back they just bought from Aberdeen?
Yeah,
that young, right? So no, it's not the same. I'm sorry, N17.
Do you not think Liverpool will be on criticism, really?
Fans like this, though, they're sorry, N17.
I've seen a lot of digging Liverpool out lately, and
makes me laugh.
He's done a fantastic job there. They've been really, really successful. People want to say they're not, pick holes in them all the time.
Yeah, I don't get it. I
wish our team was as good.
The thing is, we will belittle those clubs, but then big up our own squad.
Yeah.
The point was, Ivan Perisic, is a 33-year-old coming on 34. If we're going to rely on someone of that age playing in such a dynamic position, getting up and down for 55, 60 games a season, that's a big ask, right? Yeah. It's not like a 35-year-old who's sitting in holding midfield and just keeps it ticking along, or Thiago Silva at the back who can just play at his own pace.
I get the feeling Sessegnon's going to play a lot of games. The other question mark with him is injuries. I think if he saw a matchstick and he tripped over it, wouldn't he? He'd be out for a while.
Yeah.
He misses a lot of games. He gets injured quite a bit. Because, I just think he gets caught because he hasn't got that extra zip and speed off the mark. I think he'll get caught quite a few times.
This is what you get as well. This is our fans in a nutshell, Graham. Right? Sessegnon pocketed Salah twice. Right? So I never understand how to deal with fans like this, Graham, because it's all well and good in a game against Liverpool where you sit back with 10 men behind the ball saying we pocketed a player. Yeah? If you actually look, in that game, I saw some stats on this at the time.
About at Anfield, are we?
Yeah, in that game, Salah went past Sessegnon, I think 7 out of his 9 attempts. He went past Sessegnon. So, no, he didn't pocket Sessegnon. That is a childish saying. He didn't pocket
very narrow pitch as well.
It is. So, Savva has a nice ceiling. I do have a nice ceiling. And I've got a noisy pug in the background who I don't know what he is barking at.
You don't want to
I agree. He definitely lacks intensity. Yes, he does. Footballer said Luan Loati is Zidane. I don't know. They're talking about this, Graham. Molina. Molina is the right back stroke right wing back for Argentina. Yeah. Plays just to the side of Romero for Argentina and is signing for Atletico Madrid. That's the sort of calibre I want.
Yeah. So they're not going to get Royal then, are they? He's going to go there. Class player.
Let's have a look. I'm going to see. Paul Shepherd has said, I have to tell you, lads, I don't like 21-year-old cigar-smoking professional footballers. I mean, look, there's a lot being said about Jed Spence, and I suppose we'll see when he's here with Conte. But lots of the talk is that he does have a lot of attitude. But I don't know. Is it true?
Sometimes you need that.
Sometimes you do.
To be a good player.
Yeah. So we'll see. And Ndombele is the French Maradona. Absolutely football. He really is.
Sadly, there are people who say that.
The same guy that said that that said Sessegnon pocketed Salah is saying that Brian Hill can be the next Lionel Messi. So
well, he's having a laugh.
Yeah, he's a troll.
Fine, fair enough.
Let's have a look. Phil President has said Sess doesn't trust his body and he's always scared of getting another injury. He will never get there and we will be stuck with another Delhi. He needs to drop down a level of position where it's not as physical. I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree. The problem is if he doesn't trust his body, why should we?
No.
As fans paying a lot of money, hello, my friend. How are you? Long time no speak, Mr. Hasper. He said, I don't rate Sess. He can't seem to take on a player. Absolutely.
No.
Chris Darch has said Sess has failed. He's not a youngster anymore. A lot to be said for that. I don't think he's a youngster anymore. Ty Bennett, we'll answer questions about Depay a bit later. Paul Pablo has said, did we get it wrong just loaning out Walker Peters?
Well, I mean, Walker Peters at the time, wasn't getting a game. You can't blame him going, and he's done really well at Southampton. But in hindsight, we all got a degree in that. Why was Trippier let go? I never understood that. I mean, Walker, then we were gradually working our way downhill, weren't we? Walker start with, then Trippier. I don't know.
Again, this is what you get a lot of, Graham. It's Savva. Spence is not through the door yet. It's harsh to judge him at the moment. I'm not. If you listen to what I said, Chris, I'm not writing him off. My point is that fans keep talking about wanting to rival the big clubs, but then we want to just give potential chance after chance after chance. Why can we not buy a proper right wing back and then have Spence as the number 2 and let him learn his trade? That's my point.
We've certainly made a lot of mistakes over the years, haven't we, with transfers? Trying to go a little bit. Let's try and get a cheap one in. It's like sort of buying a cheap loaf of bread, isn't it? Oh, no, I won't get that nice one. We'll see if we can make do with this one.
So here's one from Daryl, who's my main mod. So thanks for that, Daryl. Yeah. He said a typical Spurs window, apart from coming in early. Graham, talk to me, Graham.
Well, it's just round the other way. It'd be interesting to see if we have a finish like we normally do, or have we done now?
Yeah, right.
I'd like to think that there's going to be looking for bargains, and it's obviously been Paratici's been given the directive. Let's see if we can get as cheap an option as we can. We don't want to spend a lot of money. Richarlison, obviously, they were desperate to get him, so they paid money for him. Yeah, but there'll be a few more free transfers in before the window ends.
Yeah. This Cam McNair said, "What other right wing back options are there?" Now, I love it when fans do this. I've had this on my YouTube the last 2 days and my Instagram. Fans who clearly don't watch any other leagues that say, "Well, Spence was the only option." I'm going to rattle off about 5 or 6 immediately, right? You've got Baku, you've got Mukiel, you've got Maley, you've got Molina, right? You've got players like that, Di Lorenzo, Hataboa. There are loads and loads. James Justin.
I like Cash at Villa as well.
Right.
He's done really well there.
There are loads of right wing back options. You can't tell me from the top 5 or 6 European leagues that the only option we've got is a bloke from the Championship. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that. That for me is lazy scouting. Ben Salah Yusuf has said, if we get a top attacking midfielder, how would you rate this window? Graham, we're going to talk about him in a minute. Let's just assume we now go and sign James Maddison for 70 million. Yeah. How do you rate this window?
Well, things start looking up then. I think it's a quality act. We're still centre-back, centre-mid and another forward short, I think. We sorted out the right wing-back, if we have. There won't be anybody else coming in. We're not going to be looking for another one so that Spence can be number 2. It'll be between Spence and Doherty, hopefully, but I just get the feeling that if somebody comes in with a good bid for Doherty, he'll be gone.
Just quickly, this is another one I get, Graham. Get a lot that Robertson was signed from the Championship. From Liverpool. Now, if I'm not wrong, somebody please tell me. I'll hold my hands up if I am wrong. My understanding was that he'd already had a year in the Premier League playing for Hull, so he'd had some experience at that level. I'm not saying these signings never work out. I feel like people are missing the point. My point is that we seem to do these signings over and over and over again. My point was, I thought we got Conte, Champions League, this stadium, paid £100 roughly a game, whatever. so that we could see quality players, but maybe not. Coach Silver said, I agree, Spence isn't the glamorous sign he wanted. However, I feel Conte wanted him, so for me, I'll give him a chance. Graham, I'm going to go back to my original point from months ago. I fail to believe, Graham, that they went in for a recruitment meeting. Levy, Hitchin would have still been there, Conte, Paratici, and I fail to believe that Antonio Conte said, you know who I want, guys? You know the one right wing back I want from across the world? See that bloke playing in the Champions? I'm sorry, I don't believe it.
Well, he wouldn't have seen him very much, I wouldn't have thought, unless they've shown you videos of him. Perhaps he's watched Forest on television last year, I don't know. But, I mean, a manager really, if I was, I've been a manager, you don't want to bring players in you don't know. Because at the end of the day, you're the one who's going to get the boot at the end of it.
Yeah.
So I want to know every player that comes in. If he comes in as an absolute failure, who is everybody going to blame straight away?
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at Conte. Fancy him letting him,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You've got to cover your own back in football.
So what I want to say, though, here's what I will say about the Spence thing. I will get behind it if he's our starting right wing back. But what I don't want is during the season, people going, Savva, give him time. No, we're in the Champions League. If he's been bought to be our number one right wing back, none of this time, he's got to settle in straight away. Yeah. The same way that Longley has, the same way that Perisic has, the same way Richarlison has. None of this, they'll come good in a few years. No,
enough of that.
Scott M, I can't agree with you more. He said, we need to stop this myth that Cesc pocketed Salah. I think what people are saying, Scott, which is a backwards way of looking at it, is that Salah didn't score in that game.
Yeah.
But if you actually look at the number of times in that game he took Sessegnon on and left Sessegnon on his backside, it was multiple. So the problem Salah then had was he was running into a brick wall because we had about 5 at the back.
I can think of quite a few players who he hasn't pocketed.
Oh, God, yeah, he's dreadful.
Too stiff.
Hasper said Spence smells like a Levy signing. I agree.
Yeah.
Hasper said Scott M. Cess hasn't pocketed anything. Maybe his pocket money. Phil President said Savva, stop speaking the truth, Savva. Last word on Spurs, say it's toxic, and said we need to put the kids' gloves on for those who need Pampers. Mate, listen, last word on Spurs, fair play to them. I like what they've done with their channel. From a viewing point, I've got a lot of time for Ricky Sachs. I think Ricky Sachs is a really good guy. He's always been fair to me. Some of his guests I feel that he gets on are absolute clowns. I don't mind saying that. Everything is great. Everything is brilliant. I saw Lee McQueen put out a post last year about how good Emerson Royal is. And that for me just made me go, yeah, you're a clown. So, look, I've got nothing against them, but they are tied to the club. They are tied to Sky Sports. They do voiceovers and stuff. So they're never going to tell you the truth about the club. I'm not that. Unfortunately, people call me Marmite. I don't feel I'm Marmite. I just feel like I speak the truth, and I'm not worried about upsetting. I'm not worried about saying a player isn't good just because he plays for Tottenham. Graham, Tayab has said you should have signed Cucurella. He is class. What do you think about that?
Yeah, good player. Very good player. There's a lot of players we should have signed. Yeah, he's a good player. Yeah. Quite a small fella. He's quite not very big, but good footballer, good skillful player.
Yeah. Adam McFarlane said, I don't care who bought the players as long as they show passion for the shirt. That's great. But again, I mean, that mindset for me is down here, Adam. Passion, that's great. We want passion. But at what point, Graham, does it have to stop being passion and the Q word comes into play?
Yeah,
and it's quality.
There's only so much passion you can show.
Right.
Go back all down the divisions. Everybody's showing passion. You've got to have that extra bit of quality as well.
Yeah.
To marry the two together. Look, with Conte as manager, is anybody going to go out on that pitch and not show passion?
No, of course not.
Are they going to play in the next game? No. They'll be showing passion, all right.
Cam McNair said Cess defended really well at the end of the season, as did Emerson. Still never improved going forward. I'm going to be honest, Graham, you and I sat and watched most of the games towards the end of the season. And the number of times we sat there and we paused the game, do you remember? And went, look how out of position he is. Yeah. Look how his man's got past him. Look how he's not touch tight. Look, they're not good defense. No. I'm sorry, they're not. I'm not having it.
They'd be nowhere near any team around us.
No. They wouldn't even get into Arsenal's team.
No, that's saying something.
That's saying an Arsenal, we're above. Again, this is what we get. Every player is a risk. Yes, but the difference is some players have been there, seen it and done it. So the risk is minimal. The only risk you've got then is injury or lack of form. Bringing a player that's never done it and never played at that level, that's a different risk, isn't it, Graham?
Yeah, I mean, all right, he's come from the Championship. He did very, very well last year. He might, who's to know, he might come in and really set the place on fire. We just don't know. It seems to me he might need a discipline from the manager, some discipline. And maybe Conte's the right manager. I mean, you've got Richarlison as well. He's another one, isn't he? But I think Conte will get the best out of these players.
Yeah. Full Ball has said, actually, hang on, just before we go to that Full Ball, Coach Silver said, for me, I don't get the negativity over the signings we've made so far. Basuma's a huge upgrade. Forster's a huge upgrade on Galini. Perisic a winner. Richarlison plays across the front. Brazil preferring to Jesus. Now, Graham, first of all, I don't think there's been negativity towards the players we brought in. I think we've had a good window. I just don't think it's the all singing, dancing window that some fans are making out. Now, before you answer that, Graham, my big thing is this. I said to you the other day, didn't I? I showed you a starting 11 for Tottenham.
Yeah.
Now, we can give or take a few players. It doesn't really matter. Let's assume the starting 11 is this. And people, please don't start going in with, oh, I'd rather him than him. That's not the point of what I'm doing here. Graham, if we go into the season with Lloris in goal, right? Spence at right wing back, Perisic at left wing back, Longley, Romero and Dyer, then Bentancur and Basuma, Kane, Son, Kulusevski. Name me 5 players now, Graham, that come off the bench and make a difference with the 5 sub rule.
Well, this is going to be the 5 sub rule is going to be the problem, isn't it?
So who?
Well, Højbjerg, you didn't put in, did you?
No, but does he come on and
doesn't make
impact?
No, right. I don't think there's anybody.
So,
is there Richarlison?
Richarlison?
Yeah, I call him. Is he Richarl or Ricard? I call him Richarlison. Yeah, he would come on.
Right, Richarlison. Right.
I think we're struggling.
So this is my point. When everyone goes on about this great window, I look at this and go, one injury to Kane, Son, Kulusevski or Richarlison, and then we've got no forwards on the bench.
No, you're back to Mura, Scarlett.
Right. One injury to Romero, your back 3 looks really, really weak.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm not saying it's a bad window. I think it's a good window, but I just don't think it's this amazing, oh, well, Conte wanted all these players. It's amazing. I don't think we've strengthened in too many areas.
Seems to me over the last year or so, the quality of the signings have got better.
They have,
I mean, you've got Romero, Kulusevski, Bentancur. They were 3. Oh, they're better than what you look back a few years. Some of the rubbish we bought, and now we've got the ones from this window, and they're all decent players, aren't they? They're good players. I just think we need 2 or 3 now, real quality players to go in amongst that.
Yeah. Full Ball has said, I'll ask you this, Graham. If we sign James Maddison, would that be considered as a marquee wow signing?
Probably not a wow signing, but it would be a very, very good signing. Because I think he's a quality player. He scores goals from midfield as well. And we haven't got that. I know the ones up front score loads. But putting him in, he's different to what we got. He gives you an option. He gives you a different option of playing. Yeah. The way we play. And I think you need that in the game. Yeah.
For me, I'm going to... Sorry, Graham. I'm going to disagree with you here. Won't be the first time. Won't be the last. I do think that's a marquee signing. For me, James Maddison is the player you put in and you go, right, centre everything around that guy. And I think then you change from a 3 up front to a 2 and have Maddison in behind. Because Maddison scores, he assists, his set pieces. Wonderful footballer for me, Graham.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've heard people say, oh, don't like him. No, I can't stand him. But people are looking at him as his personality. But I think that little bit of personality makes a player.
Yeah. King in the Indies has said, what do you think of using Jed Spence for a year and then buying an upgrade next season? Now, for me, Graham, my concern, when I keep seeing this, the same thing with centre-backs. I keep hearing, oh, well, Conte only wanted Bastoni and Vardial, but because he can't get them, we'll wait till next year. What's the concern about doing that between now and next year, Graham?
Well, I mean... If obviously if he comes in and does nothing and looks a real flop, they've got to start looking somewhere else, haven't they? And this time next year, we might think, well, hang on, these are still not very good, these fullbacks. We need to go and buy better. He's obviously the bargain, isn't he? That everyone's looking at 12 million. Wow, what a good signing! But nobody else has seemed that interested in him. That's a little bit of a worry, isn't it?
Adam McFarlane said, "What, 6 players and they still want more?" I've got a feeling that fans don't quite understand how bad our squad was. So when we're saying about 6 players coming in, this squad needs a lot.
We've let this drift over the years.
Right.
We've let this drift, and we've accumulated lots of players who are not good enough. The bench last year was one of the worst in the Premiership, without a shadow of a doubt. It's no good having a gun 11. And then now with the 5 sub rule, I mean, the Man Cities and the Liverpools are loving that, aren't they? Look at the players they're bringing on with their 5 subs.
Yeah.
We can't have Harvey White and Devine and Scarlett, as your subs to come on. You just can't do that. I think we need to get rid of more and still bring more in. Yeah, we're paying now for neglect over 5 or 6 years or longer of rubbishy players that we bought in. And to be fair to Paratici, since he's been there, the quality has gone up.
Apart from Hill,
initially,
Galini, Sarr,
that was his big stumble, first of all.
Borough fan Jay has said, I can judge him, talking about Spence.
Yeah.
He didn't assist 1 goal in 63 games for Middlesbrough.
Well, that's a worry, isn't it, for starters?
Right.
But see, he shows well. He looks good. If you look at him, he runs well with it. He bombs forward. As you say, the end product.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Adam McFarlane, I'm going to call you out right now. You are Daniel Levy's favourite person in the world. You are why this club doesn't win anything. You are what is called lack of ambition. Just deal with it, Savva. Spence is in. It's not for me to deal with. It's that fans like you celebrate mediocre signings, then we'll tell other fans that we're going to win leagues. Let that sink in. Some of us are ambition, some of us are you. Just so you know, just saying.
I'm keeping out of that.
That's fine. Mate, I'll say it. I hate this. Just deal with it. Yeah, some of us go. I mean, my ticket for the first game of the season against Southampton, Graham, right, is just in and around the £100 mark. Yeah. Right? Now, for the £100 mark, I'm sorry, as a fan, I think I've got a right to say I want better than Jed Spence.
Correct.
Sorry. I don't go down to the Ferrari garage. I don't go to Ford and pay Ferrari prices to drive away a Ford, do I?
No.
Right? No. If I go to Ford, I want to pay Ford prices. Yeah. So I feel that in this world, you should pay for the products that you get. For me, there's a lot of fans who really do not have any ambition and will back anything.
Yeah, he takes a lot out of the supporters, doesn't he? Without a doubt. The highest paid CEO in the league as well.
David Clark, another one who doesn't really... Yesterday, David Clark sent me a message on YouTube saying that I had said the Spurs scouts were looking at Jules Koundé when I never said such a thing. Here he said, Liverpool signed Robertson not knowing what player he would turn out to be, but yet you only talk about him as is. Again, let me try and stress this. Liverpool got to see Robertson playing in the Premier League against better players. We've not seen that because Jed Spence has been playing in the Championship. I don't understand what's so difficult.
They do a lot of work on their scouting as well. They don't bring many duff ones in, do they, Liverpool?
Yeah. Luan has said this mentality of what other right wing back options are available is the exact reason why some of your fans deserve your club. Luan, my favourite saying, our fans have the club they deserve, because lots of fans saying, who could you have got other than Spence, is embarrassing, to be honest. I feel that's really embarrassing.
Yeah.
Sebi said some of Spence's best games was in the FA Cup against Premier League teams. That's great, but every dog has their day. For me, I'm looking at it. Graham, talk to me. How important is it that our right wing back assists?
Well, the system he plays is absolutely vital. If you've got the wing backs are not supplying, you haven't got a creative midfield player. Where's the creation coming from? You know, we're just relying on playing those through balls through for Kane and Son to get on the end of.
Yeah. Bob Spur sums it up. Big up to you, Bob Spur, one of my favourite people in the YouTube and Spurs family. He has said Spence could be a good signing, but if he's a definitive starter, I'll be very surprised. And if he's not, we need more wing backs.
Do you think they'll start with Doherty?
I don't know. I just don't know.
He showed some promise last year. I thought he played some decent games till he got injured.
Yeah, again, get over Spence already. Let's back our boys. We're going to back them, Adam. Don't grow up. We're going to back them. Again, I'll say this every show. Graham, imagine we came on to Spurs YouTube channels and podcasts and just said, everything's brilliant, every player's great. What would we debate?
No. You've got to throw out these things as well to get people to reply, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Look, we all want Spence to do well. That's the bottom line, isn't it? We all want Spence to really be the business.
Yeah.
Nobody here doesn't.
Paul Pablo said Spence got his transfer on one game against the Woolwich. Kane Legg, hello Kane, how are you? He said, I want to back quality players. Absolutely. I will back Spence if he's in a Spurs shirt. But I just feel that at what point do we actually show some ambition? I'm bored, Graham. I keep hearing that we can't match Chelsea's ambition. Let me ask you now, why not? Why can we not match Chelsea's ambition?
No reason why not.
Right.
No reason why not at all. But they clearly don't want to spend the money, the big money, do they?
Yeah.
And the big money will turn it round.
Yeah. I like this. Rovshan has said, Savva, you are not that important person for people to ask you to give someone a time. I don't understand the sentence. Do you? Listen, I am the most important person in my own life. if that makes you feel better. I never said I was the most important. Rovshan, I'll say the same thing that I'll say to anyone. If you don't like it, see yourself out, start your own YouTube channel. That's what we do, right? That's what we do. So don't be rude.
Don't need rudeness.
Graham, let's move to, let's say, David Clark said, Torres, yet another player who doesn't want to leave his lifestyle in Italy. It's not a slight on our club. I don't know what that is. Rovshan, again, Sessegnon was very promising last season. I must have missed it.
I must have blinked.
I must have blinked. Jun Hong, why so negative? We can make a few better signings, but it's been a great window. Jun, I'm not being negative, I'm being realistic. If you think this is a great window, then I worry.
Can I ask, we're talking about window, we're talking about ins and outs. We're talking about outs as well. It could be a decent window, I would say, so far coming in, but we've not got rid of the ones we want to, have we? We're still sitting there with these people. Yeah. So if we get rid of those three or four who haven't travelled and bring 2 or 3 more in, then we're looking, the word great, I mean, it's a big word, great, isn't it?
Mate, that's the thing.
We're not getting people out, you see. The window's to and fro. It's not just what we get in, it's what we get out as well.
Somebody said to me on YouTube this morning, Graham, they said, out of 10, what would you rate the window? And I said 5 or a 6. And they went, oh, how can you do that? Yeah. And I turned around and said, right, let's look at this. We have got a plethora of Deadwood still at the club, right?
Yep.
Undombele, Wink, great word. Undombele, Winks, Lo Celso, Roden, Sanchez, whoever you want, chuck them in there. Right, we've got loads of Deadwood that's not gone. Now factor in we've not signed a class right wing back. Yeah. Now factor in we've not solved the left centre back problem. Yeah. Now factor in we've still got no creativity in midfield. In what way can that be classed an 8 out of 10?
No, I mean I wouldn't go 8 for the outgoings as well. I wouldn't give it an 8. I still want to see 2 or 3 quality players in there. But going back to this bench thing, it's important to have people on the bench next year, 5 subs who are going to come on and say improve the team. Certainly not, the opposite, weaken it. We don't want to see if Kane comes off and Moura goes on. No disrespect to Moura, it's weakened straight away, isn't it? You can't have a whole bench. I mean, last year it was appalling, the bench. All he could bring on was Moura and Bergwijn, couldn't he? There was nobody else really there to bring on.
And this is a good point.
And loads of defenders.
Just quickly, I probably should ask. I mean, we've been going for a while now. We are stuck on 62 likes. Help me get to the 100. If you do want to super chat, just know that 50% of it does go to the British Heart Foundation. Some of us people who are not very important do like giving to charity. Yeah. Us terrible humans. That has to be borne in mind
as well when people criticise.
Exactly. I do a lot of this for charity before you all have a go at me. Richard Knight has said, a great name, by the way. Richard. Is it? Great name, Richard.
Knight. Oh, I mean,
Richard,
sorry.
Richard. Sorry. My first name is Richard, for anyone that doesn't know. It's not Savva. But Savva, it begs the question why Borough wanted Spence gone. They have Elias Jones, who ripped us apart in the FA Cup. Plus, no other club has looked at him. Now,
Warnock fell out with him, didn't he?
He did. But there's a Borough fan in the chat ground, right?
Yeah.
Jay, if you are still in the chat, talk to me, because when I saw Jones play for Borough last year, he, for me, looked a lot better than Spence.
Yeah.
That's only me.
They got the videos mixed up when they sent them to Spurs.
Yeah.
We'll see. Time will tell. No, I keep saying time will tell.
Daniel said, obviously, we would love far way more to be done, but it can't all be done in one window. My real question is, moving forward, will we do as good amount of business every window and return to no signings? I think the point is, Daniel, Graham, tell me if you agree with me, is that we need to get to the point where we've got a good squad, and each window you just need 1 or 2 out, one or two in.
Yeah.
It can't be 7 or 8 every window.
At the moment, too much Deadwood. It's being accumulated.
Yeah. Ayush. Remember Ayush?
I know Ayush.
Gil is so good this pre-season. Do I go in on Ayush here, or do I cut him some slack? I'm going to go in on him. Ayush, last year, you told me and Graham multiple times, didn't he, Graham?
Yeah.
In a WhatsApp chat, that Brian Hill was the best young player in the world. You then decided to tell us that Bentancur and Kulusevski weren't good enough or better than what Spurs had before. Sorry, mate.
Can I ask you, does he affect the game?
No.
Are you going to say about any player, do they affect the game? If you look at Kulusevski and then look at Gil, what is the difference? And I think a lot of it is strength and power. He is. I mean, I hate the word small in football. I was always dead against saying that. But sometimes people are just not physically strong enough to cope. Give him perhaps 2 or 3 years, but he should be down the scale a bit, learning the trade. He's got to build himself up a bit. I can't see him playing in the first team this year. Who instead of?
And sorry, how's he had a magnificent pre-season? He's only played 45 minutes of football.
Well,
I don't understand.
No disrespect to the Korean team. I didn't actually watch I watched the highlights, but no, I mean, I don't know. I think he'll go out on loan again, personally.
Yeah. Come on, guys and girls, get those likes up. We're on 66. Let's at least get to 100. Bob Spur TV's back. He has said, yes, every player is a risk, but it's Paratici and his team's job to limit that risk.
Yes.
Bang on.
Wouldn't disagree with that.
Bang on. Adam has said something we're forgetting. I don't know how he knows we're forgetting this. You are forgetting one big thing. Levy and Enix's wage structure haven't won anything for a long time. We need to earn the right to sign these top players. Well, first and foremost, I don't think we've forgotten anything. Second of all, that's the club's problem to sort out, not mine. If the club don't want to pay top wages to top players, don't charge the fans top ticket prices.
That's the big issue with it, isn't it? That is the big issue. You know, paying higher ticket prices than anybody else, and then they're not really buying the absolute cream players, are they? You know, this is the thing. The supporters do well not to have mown more over the years, I think.
Yeah. Rovjan's back. This is going to be my new nemesis. I can feel it. Savva, you want us to win the league, have a league winning window, but it's impossible with Oil Club being in the Premier League. Now, Graham, this is with oil money being in the Premier League, Oil Club. Right. Let me rip this statement apart. Anyone that knows me, has Spur, Bob Spur, any of my regular followers, Graham will tell you, not once have I said Spurs are going to win a league. Not once have I said I want us to win the league, i.e., of course I do down the line, but we're nowhere near that. So please stop chatting nonsense that I want us to win the league, right? Second of all, when you're talking about it's impossible with oil money being plugged in, Man City, right? Man City, if as far as I'm aware, are the only club up the top there with oil money. Chelsea is not oil money now. Liverpool's not oil money. So City's is oil money, right? Now, Man City this window bought Haaland, Calvin Phillips, and Alvarez. Is that right?
Yes.
Right. So you're telling me that we can't compete because of those free signings? There's no other players out there for the rest of us to go and get. There's not better players than Jed Spence for Spurs to sign. There's not better players than Longley. There are players all over the world, Rovshan, and that's what scouts are paid to do.
It's the different owner, isn't it? You know, our owner's got pots of money. 6 billion, I think he's worth, isn't he? But he won't put the money in, whereas the others do. They put the money into the club. ENIC are not prepared to do that.
Here we go. Another one. Adam McFarlane. Tottenham fans are so negative. Adam, tell me what I've said that's negative. Every year, I feel like I'm pretty much spot on, Graham, don't you? With my predictions.
You've been proved right many times, yeah.
I hear every year I hear that I'm negative, but every year what I worry about seems to come true. What I've worried about this year is the lack of depth.
That will be a big problem.
Going to be a huge problem. Fans like you, what you are, Adam, is your toxic positivity. It's everything's great, everything's rosy, but when you actually strip back the layers of the onion, it's not.
Levy loves that as well. I bet he'd be sitting there with that smile.
Absolutely.
That smug look.
Absolutely.
All these supporters, look at them paying top whack prices.
Absolutely.
And I'm giving them £12 million players.
Chelsea buy Koulibaly and are in for Kimpembe. We told the world how much we're backing a manager and what we have to spend. We get long loan and Division 1 right back.
Can't argue with that.
Bang.
Best post this morning.
But that's the winner so far. See if anyone can get a better post. That is the winner.
Who was that, sorry?
THFC 14. Spot on.
There you go.
All of this, we're backing Conte. All of this, we've got 250, 300 million spend. We've got 2 free transfers, 1 loan, 1 £12.5 million player from the Championship, and a 60 million for Richarlison. It doesn't scream to me this amazing window that people like Adam McFarlane think it is.
Chelsea will be very strong this year, I think.
Yeah. I do. I think Chelsea will go big.
Without doubt.
Phil President has said Levy ego will never allow him to take a loss, and so until he gets his money back on players, as fans are made to suffer as we watch with them. Agreed.
Dead on.
Agreed. Kevin Blythe, 100% need another centre back and a good proven one. If Romero gets injured, then we are looking at Longley, Sanchez, Dyer, and Davis. That's not good enough.
No. Correct.
3
in a row.
Kevin, stop talking sense because fans like Adam don't like it. Fans like Adam think that's negative. You trying to win the quad in 2 windows. Rome weren't built in a day. Again, who's trying to win the quad? Saying like that make fans like you feel better.
I mean, let's be fair. Enoch have been there 22 years. You know, eventually, I suppose, they will. We will win something. But take them 22 years. I can't see a build up there. Can you? It's taken a long time to reach there, hasn't it?
And then our mate Adam's back. See, this is what they do, Graham. These toxic positive people, right? They'll say to me, "Oh, you're negative. You're negative, Savva." Right. So then I say, "Oh, imagine signing Maddison. What a class signing. That will push us on. We won't spend that on Maddison."
That's the problem.
Make your mind up,
That's
Adam.
the problem. We won't spend it.
Am I negative or am I positive for wanting players like Maddison, but your owners and chairman?
Probably fine next week. Chelsea are buying.
If somebody else in the Premier League buys Maddison, I'll be gutted.
They're the players we should be looking at. But they just won't pay. You know, there's that budget and try and keep it nice and balanced. We've got to get people out.
Cam McNair has said 100% need one more attacking option. 1 injury away from Lucas being the one option off the bench. Absolutely.
Those players who were left behind from the Korea trip, look how much that's cost the club in signings, those 4 players. You add it all up, gosh, what a waste. They've got to get the scouting right as well. The scouting's all wrong, isn't it? We are paying money for some players, but look at Ndombele. I mean, he's not done a thing really, is he? 65 million.
Roshan is back. He said, well, Liverpool was forced to use Nat Phillips because of Van Dijk and Matip injury. If one of them is injured, Richarlison starts. Right. So what did Liverpool do? Liverpool went out and bought Konate. Now Liverpool's 4 centre-backs are Van Dijk, Matip, Gomez and Konate.
Not bad.
So if 2 get injured, look at the strength of the other 2. Now take Romero out of our centre-back.
Yeah.
Right? So
also the Liverpool youngsters that are coming through are so far advanced to our players, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
They go straight in, they look good players. Really good players.
Darryl Denton has said we've got 2 centre-backs who can't jump higher than 2 dwarfs on a trampoline in Romero and Longley. Pray crosses don't come in a lot. It's a big worry of mine, Darryl. I've said that the one weakness for me in Romero's game is definitely in the air. I don't feel he commands that box. Neither does Dyer. Longley isn't that player.
When the other team take corners, you look at Dyer's positioning.
Oh,
from a coaching point of view, he's shocking. You know, gets in the wrong position. He's not on a half turn. You know, he's all right when everything comes straight at him in the middle of the pitch. But
Rovshan again said to buy Bastoni is impossible at this point. He wants to stay at Inter. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
News alert for you, Rovshan. Bastoni's not the only centre back around in world football. There are many others. Really? Chris has said, why are we looking for wide forwards? Gordon and Depay. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Going to take a few more windows, Adam said.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's going to take many, many windows. But my point is that when I turn around and say, I don't think we're going to win the league or challenge this year, I get called negative, but then I get fans saying to me, oh, Spurs can challenge. But then I get fans saying to me, hang on, it's going to take some windows.
Yeah.
I don't think fans quite know where they sit with their opinion. Bassi of Rangers, apparently a lot of clubs in for him. Yeah. He looks a good player, actually. Yeah. I don't mind him. With a good chance that Tielemans is going, that means Maddison is going nowhere. But again, Graham, tell me if you agree with me or not. This is the difference. Spurs need to stop being the club that worry like that. We need to be the club that go and test the water. Yeah. We need to go and put an offer down and go, Maddison, 75 million, done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Chelsea do it. United do it.
Will there ever be a day that ENIC do it?
No.
That's not their brief, is it?
Yeah. Coach Silver says Conte has hinted at more signings, so I'll judge it into the window. So far, we've improved the starting 11 and added some depth. We know lots to do. Most thought we would only buy 3-4 players. I think we've added 2 that strengthen the starting 11. Only Basuma and Perisic.
Yeah. There's no guarantee Richarlison will play.
No.
Longley will play, but he's...
Yeah. 164 Spur, good afternoon to you as well. Graham, let's move on. I say move on. We've been all over the place.
Adam was agreeing with me there. Sorry, I did glance at that. Spot on, Graham. What have I said?
Oh, probably something horrible about me. I don't know.
Thank you, Adam.
Yeah. Yeah, Ben Salah said now for every player we get rid of, we get a new one. That would be perfect. Abdullah Mukhtar Hussain has said, Savva, we have to wake up and look for big world-class players. Arsenal going for Zinchenko, Sané and Paqueta, Tielemans, and they're in the Europa League while we're in the UEFA Champions League and we are buying Europa-level players. I mean, I look at that 2 ways. I think if Arsenal get those deals done, I'll be jealous. Yeah. However, they've got to get them done. I think we're in different places to Arsenal. If they get Paqueta, Sané and Zinchenko, 3 very good signings that make our squad better.
Well, we're looking at the top, but you've got to look behind us as well. You know, we don't want to be caught up and overtaken by Man United and Arsenal. I'm not saying they will, but it's very competitive. Very competitive.
Scott's made a good point. He said, if we sign 20 players but don't address our needs, then yes, I still want more. It doesn't matter how many players we bring in. If we're still starting the likes of Dyer and Spence, Royal,
It needs to bring a lot of players in with the quality of the bench. We keep going back to that, but we can't have a bench like that this year.
Yeah. Saar was never bought to improve the quality immediately. He's 18, old young player. Again, another young player that we bought.
That's a waste of time.
More money that we keep spending on young players. Is Saar better than Harvey White or Alfie Devine?
Probably not.
That's the question I'm going to ask. David Clark said, we will have a weak bench because the good new players are just replacing the bad boys we're trying to get rid of. Yeah, but that's why I feel like I'm not being negative. I'm being realistic when I give my predictions. Rofshan's back saying, so what is our standard? Winning the league. How is our standard winning the league where we won 2 leagues 6 years ago? Winning the league is a jackpot. I mean, he keeps talking about winning the league. Have you mentioned it?
No.
Have I?
Look, we'd all like that, wouldn't we? We'd love that if we win in the league. Let's be realistic. It's going to take a while to do that. If they win it this year, my God, it'd be the biggest surprise of going. But I mean, Liverpool and Man City have got to start coming backwards as well. Okay.
Just Fly, another one who's just away with the fairies, has said, laugh out loud. All you have to do is look at a couple of YouTube videos of Spence. He has goal assists. Stop lying. Okay.
Well, it's not written down, that.
Jed Spence has 4 goal assists in his career. Yeah. So I'm not lying, Just Fly. He has 4 goal assists in his career playing championship football. That's just a fact. I know people like you don't like a fact. That's a fact. That's not my opinion.
I'm in his camp a little bit. I mean, I think he is a good signing personally, but I won't say it too loud in case everybody comes back on me. But give him time, give him chance. Not time, give him chance. Let's wait and see. If he play, I tell you this now, if he plays a blinder against Southampton, that people will be going in raptures. My God, this bloke's what's that word I hate? Baller? He's a baller.
Idiots. Richard Knight made a great point here. He said, Savva, it's no good saying we will get quality players next season, not this, as we may not get top 6. Then those players won't consider coming.
Correct.
Right. This is it. Yeah. All of those saying, don't worry, we'll get Bastoni next year. Why will we? What if we don't get top 4? Yeah. Right.
This is the time to do it. This is the chance, the opportunity, isn't it? We're in the Champions League now. I know we're all thinking we're going to get in it year after year now, but you don't know what's going to happen.
Rosh Shani, this guy's brilliant. You are being clueless here? ? No. Then if there's a question mark, no, I'm not. You meant to put an exclamation mark, my friend. He said, if I say we should buy Hakimi, is our club going to buy him? What does you deserve this club mean? As if fans order transfers. No, what I mean is when fans go to the nth degree to back the regime that we've got that have delivered what they have over the last 22 years, that's when you've got the club you deserve. I looked at this window and went, Champions League football, Conte, the manager, everything's in place, the training ground. I'm not celebrating buying a £12 million wing back from the Championship with 4 assists in his career.
To be fair, the era of ENIC, they should be ashamed of themselves for some of the people they brought in and the lack of trophies they've won. They should be ashamed of themselves even.
Yeah. Peter Simons, Rome wasn't built in a day. No, Rome's been being built for 22 years.
About 4 o'clock the following afternoon.
22 years. I love it when we say Rome wasn't built in a day. 22 years
they came in.
22 years.
How many more years we got away? Another 22.
Yeah. David Clark, sorry, I never agree with you, David. You're a nice guy, but I never agree with you. He said, if we don't get a class right wing back and we have Conte and Paratici looking, it means these players don't want to come. No, it doesn't. It means we won't pay the money. Yeah. We've gone for Spence because he's £12.5 million. And
the possibility of doing well.
Yeah, we have not bid for any other right wing back as far as we know. No. So please, that's not,
we've had a clear run at him as well, haven't we? And it seems to be...
Everything absolves blame away from Levy, Graham, doesn't it? All these fans...
He has got a lot to answer for. Yes, we've got a great ground. We've got a great training ground. What do we all want? I spoke to somebody the other day as a Spurs fan, and I said, we've won 1 trophy in 22 years. It doesn't matter, he said. It's about other things.
Oh, God.
So I thought what were we playing for each season?
Mate, absolutely.
I know it's a different opinion, but it is quite bizarre, isn't it?
Peter Simons, we have won zilch to attract players. That's why we can't match Chelsea. Well, why did we move stadium? Why did we build $1 billion stadium, the best training ground in the country? Why did we appoint Conte? Does he not attract players? Does Champions League not attract players? Playing with Son and Kane and Romero, does that not attract players?
When does the training ground and the main ground become a viable thing? When is it going to start producing money for the team? Big money for the team? Because that's obviously the reason why it's been built. The money's not going on to old Lewis's yacht Levy's very, very well paid, isn't he? We're not on his wage increases. We want money from these things, these great things, the infrastructure. What's coming back into the team? Money, not 12 million players, much more than that. It's an insult in some ways, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Somebody said Johnson was one of the top goal scorers in the Championship. He had fine options in the middle to get on the end of his crosses if they were good. The defenders he will face are a lot better. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's again. I will go back to my original statement. I've got no issue with Spence. No. I just feel like it's a meh signing. The hottest Spur said Jed at Forest, 42 appearances, 2 goals, 4 assists. He only got 1 assist for Borough in 60 or so games.
Yeah, it's a worry that. It's a worry.
That worries me.
Big stat. Yeah.
Because we're talking about he's playing against the next level of players down and in a team that got promoted, Graham.
But surely, before you're going to sign him, Paratici or whoever the scouts are, they surely look at that and go, "Oh, he's only done 1 assist in so many games."
Yeah.
But obviously they're going ahead with him.
Derek Smith, you win the biggest idiot award.
Oh,
sorry, you can jump off the chat. Yes, Savva, let's buy a world-class player in every position. Not realistic. Think you might be detached from reality, my friend. Okay. Graham, once this show have I said we should buy world-class players?
No.
Right? My level is looking at Maddison. Now, if James Maddison from a Leicester team not in Europe isn't realistic, then we should not have built this stadium. We should not have hired Conte and stayed where we were. So, sorry, Derek, please don't come on here and try and lie. I've not once mentioned signing world-class players. It doesn't go Jed Spence world-class. There is a whole group of players in there.
He's trying to do it without spending colossal amounts.
Of course he is.
He did that in the Pochettino regime as well. They want all the while managers doing well. Levy's sitting there, wonderful, isn't it? But when it needed to be improved upon, he was found wanting. 3 windows, 1 sign. Mura, wasn't it? 3 windows. That's the thing that's gone wrong. He's got totally wrong.
Just quickly, here's a really good point. Again, this is from a Middlesbrough fan who said Jones is levels above Spence. He had 9 assists and 3 goals in his debut championship season.
And you can only go by that, can't you? You know, what can you look at otherwise?
Yeah.
Yes, you can watch him play, but
a ditcher, spot on, mate. We don't agree on everything, but we do agree on our dislike for Enoch and Levy.
Yeah.
He said Enoch and Levy are never going to change. Don't expect much Savva with these owners.
No.
Mate, I don't. Which is why I don't think we're going to win anything.
100% true. There's no other doubt than that.
Yeah.
They proved it time and time again. Every window's the same. We're sitting there on that last day and we get someone like Sissoko about 5 to 12. You know, this is what it's an insult.
Yeah, I agree. Luana said, well, we called Andres Pereira at United pre-season Perlo. Well, look, fans just want to back every player, and that's great, but it's not reality.
It's got to be realistic sometimes.
Has Spurs actually like Gill, but if he's going to make it, he needs to hit the gym. I mean, he does look very lightweight.
Yeah.
Borough fan Jay said, plus the amount of own goals that Jones caused was unreal. Let's have a look. Seems like this is a Levy out channel. Spurs were mediocre mid-table before Enoch. They are far from that now. They aren't running a chip shot.
Goodness me.
Oh, Derek's one of those that doesn't like winning.
Did we win any trophies before Enoch came in?
Should we bring out some facts, Graham?
Oh, go on then.
You know the facts that live in there and up there.
That's not Daniel Levy posting.
This is where fans become ridiculous. So, the 20 years before Enoch, 5 trophies. 5 trophies in the 20 years before Enoch. 1 European trophy, 2 FA Cups and 2 League Cups. Right? Think about that. 2 League Cups, 2 FA Cups and a European trophy. 22 years with Enoch, 1 League Cup. So all of this, they took over a mediocre mid-table team. They are far from that now. All right, what do we win? What do we win? And for the pleasure of it, Derek, you're not even a Spurs fan. You've got a Plymouth Argyle, if I'm not wrong.
Oh.
Is that PAFC, Plymouth Argyle with the ship?
Indeed.
Sorry, either know the club or don't. But when you come out with silly statements like that, you're going to be schooled.
They've got a lot to answer for. Let's not make excuses for
them.
Come on.
And they charge us the earth.
Yeah.
The earth.
Yeah.
Hello, Ben Harris. He said, afternoon. Genuinely think you're underestimating Spencer's quality. He ticks every box regarding creativity. But he doesn't.
Not by this. No.
But not from his history, he doesn't.
He looks good at times.
Right.
He's a player on the eye, you think,
Yeah. Kevin has said Spence didn't play for Middlesbrough last season. He played for Forest and was a big part in helping them get promotion. He was a great last season. He's only young. Let's wait and see. Potential. No one said he played for Middlesbrough last season.
No.
Jones did. They let him go because they said Jones was better. Again, the last word there is the word that kills me, Graham. It's potential. Again.
Yeah, we've done that hundreds of times over the years, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I have seen a super chat. Thank you very much. Wolves FI has given €5. 250 of that will go to the British Heart Foundation. He said, Savva, Graham, congrats congrats, the Jed Spence deal. You could best right wing back world football under Conte. I think we're punching there. I don't think he is. Coover has said, if your house falls down, then living in a tent for 20 years isn't a great thing. Levy could do far more with this club, but all some of the fans do is cheer the stadium and a few spreadsheets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Absolutely. Listen, could we have worse owners? I'm sure we could. But 22 years, 1 League Cup.
Loads of underside. I mean, look, some of the players, we could draw a list as long as this table of the cheap old signings he's made that have done nothing.
Yeah.
You know? And yet he soon sacks the manager.
Yeah, absolutely. True Blue said, smash the like buttons. Yes, please, people, please do. We are on 81, and it would be great if we could get to 100. In about 15 minutes, we are going to look at Graham's top 10 strikers that have ever played for Spurs. Before we do, let's just crack on. Daryl Denton has said, too many fans trying to be super fans. It's funny. Yeah. Too many fans, Daryl, that just like absolutely anything the club does. Chelsea fans, Liverpool fans, United fans, City fans don't do this. They don't do this. They demand. Rovshan has said, please tell me in which position Maddison plays in a 3-4-3. Rovshan, you do realise that Conte has always tinkered between 3-4-3 and 3-4-1-2 in his career. Have a look at the formation that won him the league at Inter Milan. Yeah, he played 2 up top. So it's about having options.
It's a good formation now.
I like that. I like that as well.
Yeah, right. We like that.
Fans just can't. I just don't get this. I don't understand some fans.
No, I mean, you know.
As much as I think you're a bit negative, tell me what I've said that's negative, Rovshan. I always ask this. What have I said that's actually negative that's not fact? Graham, I want to move over.
Observations.
Just fly. All the new signings we've got in so far will play. Have you not been watching us for the last couple of seasons? But yes, some of them will be rotated, right? Yeah. Some of them will. Just Fly is another one of those. Club he deserves. Carl Higgins has said, we just spent a season being susceptible to corners and free kicks, yet we're still as weak in year now as the transfer season start. Agreed.
Yes,
We've not addressed that. We've not addressed it. Bob Coy said, we finished 4th. We have the Champions League, we have Conte, and we have money. All means we can compete and get any players we want. Now, whilst I don't think we can get any player we want,
no,
I do agree with him, though, that we should be getting top players. No?
Yeah, sorry.
I was asking you.
I thought he was looking at the next thing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
No reason why not. The only problem is that Levy won't pay the top whack money, will he?
Of course he won't.
So,
of course he won't.
We've got the money. I mean, yes, Lewis has got lots of money. It's not coming our way.
Do I think Conte will walk if we don't get top 4? Well, surely I'm going to pose the question to you. You guys are telling me I'm negative and we've got a great squad.
Yeah.
If we don't get top 4, isn't it Conte's fault?
Well,
food for thought.
He wants to be backed, doesn't he? More than anything else, he wants to be backed. If he thinks the club are backing him, the longer he'll stay. As soon as he thinks, well, hang on a minute, I haven't got top. Why have I not got top 4? Have I not got top 4 because they didn't spend enough money on players?
Wolves said that Spurs are favourites to overtake Liverpool in second place. I can't see why. I don't know what we've done. I think people are forgetting, Graham, that there's going to be nearly 55, 60 games if we do well. Yeah. And we've got no squad depth.
It's the depth. See, Liverpool have got lots of depth all over the place.
Yeah. Just Flyer said at Cane Leg, I'm 50, mate. Seen Spurs in a lot worse situations than we are now. Look back 20 years, we was lucky to get 10th. Okay, I'll look back 20 years, we won trophies, Fly.
There's some good sides. And not as if we just suddenly discovered football, you know.
Yeah, this is the thing. I don't understand how so many fans can consider 1 League Cup in 22 years that the owners have done well.
Is that progress?
What progress? No. How can we force a player to join if he wants to stay? He went public. He wants to stay for another season. Yeah. I don't know who. I think they're probably talking about Bastoni. Yeah. Again, Bastoni's not the only defender in world football. I hate to tell you. Is this going to be...
There's a lot of players You watch all the different leagues. There are loads and loads of very, very good players we could get.
Absolutely.
Loads.
If everybody that hasn't liked, please, if you could go and like. We are stuck on 83 likes. It would be brilliant if we could get. It would be absolutely brilliant. I'm just checking to see how many subscribers. We've got 4 new subscribers during the show. Could I kindly ask, could 10 of you that haven't subscribed, please go and subscribe. You may love me, you may hate me, but one thing is for sure, I will always read out everyone's questions. Yeah. I will always get everyone involved. So if I could get 10 more subscribers, that would be brilliant. Here's another one of those myths where people don't use this before typing with these. Where did we sign Carl Walker from? Oh, there's the pug. There he is. Where did we sign Carl Walker from?
Sheffield United.
Okay, what league were they in?
The one below us at that stage, yeah.
Did Carl Walker come in the next season and hit the ground running, or was he sent out on loan multiple times?
He was sent out on loan, wasn't he?
So, again, I've got no problem with Spence being brought in for the future.
If Spence is going to be as good as Walker, happy days.
Agreed.
I think he's a tremendous right fullback.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, as Bob has said, can we all subscribe? This is a fantastic channel. Lots of people watch my show over and over again and don't subscribe. I don't think, Mikhail, anybody's saying that we can sign players, force players to sign it. I feel that there's just so many players out there. I don't understand why we can only wait. Our mate Liam Osborne is back. Why do you think you know more than Paratici? How would you like it if someone told you how to do your job?
Well, you say, go on then.
I'd love to see people do my job. I really, really would. Brilliant.
Look, these people get a lot wrong. These people in football don't think they're fantastic. They make loads and loads of mistakes, and it is a game of opinions.
Christian Eriksen has just signed for Barcelona. No, he hasn't. Barcelona. For Man United, and Rafinha has confirmed signing for Barca.
Good signing for
this is the sort of thing that makes you laugh. Liam, don't come on YouTube shows if that's your retort. If we don't have opinions, what's the point of the show?
Aren't we on here to do that? Aren't we on there to offer an opinion?
Apparently not.
Is Paratici that perfect where we don't have, I can't say it against him because he's in that position.
Paratici bought in Galini.
Yeah, but he's going to make loads of mistakes.
Of course he is.
They all do.
Of course he is. Aditya said, Savva, I absolutely dislike Levy. He doesn't just dislike him. He absolutely dislikes him. But one question. If we end up signing Fabian Ruiz from Napoli and Bremer from Torino, 8 players plus sales of Deadwoods, will it be an 8 out of 10?
You'll start liking him then.
For sure. But do you know what, Aditya? This is the thing about knee-jerk in football. We could go out this window and sign James Maddison, right? We could go and sign Bastoni. We could go and sign the world's best right wing, but we could sign Hakimi, and we could sign Belletti up front as another option. It doesn't change my opinion of owners that have been here for 22 years. One good window, doesn't change. If I go to work for a month, if I go to work 30 days straight and for 29 days I fail, but one day I have a good day at work, I would expect in my appraisal from my boss to be given a rollicking.
You've got to also say that Daniel Levy has made a very, very good living out of being at Spurs.
Mm-hmm. Here's one. Kai Lindstrom has said, there are much better players than Maddison. He's not a 75 million player. Okay, let me ask you this. Name me a better playmaker that we're getting than James Maddison that puts James Maddison's numbers up. I'll wait. You can come back to me. But we're going to go. Graham, let's have a look. Coach Silva, I'm not a Levy lover. However, it seems lots of players don't want to come even with Conte. Just hoping that we are working on 2-3 big signings. I've been hoping we're working on big signings for decades and it's not happened. No. Kuva. I love Kuva. He's got a lovely beard, wonderful name, and a great little cat picture. Some might call him a bit of a pussy, but not me, Kuva. I love you. Has anyone ever heard Levy use the words win or trophy? The stock phrase is always to be competitive.
When he said money doesn't buy success.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He does.
And that for me, that's the thing. Kuva is right. Graham, we are going to move on. Let's have a look. Let's just see if there's anything else that catches my eye before we move on. We're going to go through Maddison doesn't fit the system. And Conte only plays 3-5-2 in Serie A. Oh, good God. What a child. Why the fuss about Maddison? There are many better players. Maddison is not a special player. Would be in the England squad if he was a class player.
He should be in
the England squad if Southgate wasn't the negative manager.
How many goals did he score last year in the Premiership?
I think he got 20 goal and assist contributions.
Yeah. And free kicks, of course, which we lack. He takes free kicks, scores from free kicks.
Yeah.
No brainer for me.
Yeah. Mikhail said, things you say, it's not facts, it's your opinion. This is what's wrong with social media. People think their opinions equal fact. I will always tell you the difference between a fact and opinion. Okay, so fact, yeah? Fact, Jed Spence has got 4 assists in his career. Fact.
Yeah.
My opinion is I want better. That's my opinion. Very different things. Facts, we won 5 trophies in the 20 years before ENIC. Facts, we've won 1 in 22 years after. So when you're saying this is the problem with
you can't argue with that, can you really?
Fact. Tell me something I've said that isn't a fact that I've claimed to be a fact.
No.
This is the thing. When people put comments in, I will call them out. If you call me a liar, I really will. For Wolves have said they're losing Mane, Salah, dropped last 3 months. Diaz is not a goal scorer. Jota didn't score any last 4 months. And 22, Nunes is real question mark.
Listen, I mean,
sorry,
Liverpool,
what?
I mean, why is it people keep digging Liverpool out? I can't understand it. I mean, we should be looking at Liverpool and thinking, why can't we be like that? Great manager, great squad. I mean, I'm not particularly, I'm not particularly lightened, but you can't keep sort of digging at them and saying, they haven't got this and they haven't got that and they missed that. They don't do so bad, do they?
Bob has said, Savva, you say we won't spend top money for players, yet we spend 15 million on Richarlison, who isn't even a starter. I think this shows intent and that we're willing to spend the cash for the right player. One player doesn't prove that. It's one player. Everything else, Longley, loan. Yeah, Basuma was, 25 million last year of his contract. Forster free. Perisic free. Spence 12.5 million. I'm sorry, mate. One big signing, and even 50 million now isn't a big signing for bigger clubs. So Spurs 1984 said, hi, Savva, enjoyable show as always. Thank you very much. Out of interest, where does your name originate from? It is originating from Paphos in Cyprus, is where my name is.
Yeah. Mine's Woolwich.
THFC 14 has said the fee for Spence was 12.5 million. The apparent first choice transfer target and now our new right wing back wasn't even considered in the same bracket as Brian Hill. Yeah, interesting thoughts. Graham. Otherwise, we'll be stuck here all day.
Yeah.
Okay. Graham is now going to tell us in no... Do you want to do it in a particular order? No. Okay, can we start with strikers? Please, we're going to start with strikers. These are Graham's, yeah? These are Graham's top 10 strikers that have ever played for Tottenham, and he's going to give us a reason why. So, Graham, can I ask you to just don't pick the best one. I know who the best one is. Just pick someone at random and tell us why. And if they're not recent era, could you let the viewers know what?
Well, I'm going to start, and not many will remember him, with Bobby Smith. Bobby Smith in 317 games scored 208 goals. Bustling centre forward, real proper centre forward. Played 15 games for England, scored 13 goals. Wow. I think with that record, he deserves to be in there. Bobby Smith.
So what was that league goals again?
208 in 317. Now, you could say it was better in those days. I mean, I hate all that comparison, but there were some good defenders about them. So I put Bobby Smith in. I thought he deserved to go in. And I think we should be looking... I know a lot of people are young and they don't remember these players, but it's nice to sort of go over the different eras, isn't it? And sort of represent each era.
Yeah. So before you go on to the next one, does anyone remember Bobby Smith? I'm sure not many of you would. I don't, but the goal scoring record is phenomenal. Put your thoughts in the comments.
A bustling centre forward, a real sort of bustly type centre forward. A bit of a ball in a gate.
Next striker, Graham?
Well, I'm going to go for Teddy Sheringham next.
Class act.
Different reasons altogether. Quality on the ball. a different player, isn't he? Very different player. Went on to play for Manchester United, of course, and won a lot there. I just thought he was a quality act, did things that other people don't do. Great touch, brings other people into the game, scores goals.
Just quickly, Graham, sorry. Liam, I'm going to block you if you keep saying things like this. I've put in the body of the YouTube channel that today's show, Graham will be giving us a list of his top 10 strikers. So for you to say, I hate this, bringing up names from eras when you were up against plumbers and part-time teachers. Liam.
You've got not a clue, have you, really? Not a clue.
You've just shown yourself to be...
I don't know how old he is. Can you remember
12. He's 12. He's an idiot. Another comment like that, I will block you.
Ridiculous.
It's pathetic. If as Spurs fans, you don't want to be educated on players of an era gone by...
Well, they think the standard was poor in those days.
But Graham, surely we should all want to know about the players from our past that made this great club great. So, Liam, if you don't want to, you don't have to be here. But when you say you hate this...
Well, don't listen to it.
Just quickly, sorry, Graham. I just want to see. So, Liam has just belittled a Tottenham striker that scored 208 goals for the club you pretend to love. 208 goals.
It's about plumbers. How does he know that? How does he know? I've watched him play, old chap.
Just quickly, before you carry on about Teddy Sheringham, Jeff Ives has said Bobby Smith used to put the goalkeeper into the net with a ball.
Yeah, you were allowed to do that in those days.
Luca said Bobby Smith. My dad, who's a gooner, often said that Bobby Smith was a great player up there alongside Greaves.
Okay, thank you very much.
Paul Shepherd has said Bobby Smith. Yes, our double centre forward and led the line for England. Graham, listen, I get it. It's different eras, right? But it's all relative.
They're all plumbers, and I find that a completely ridiculous comment. Absolutely stupidity.
Well, Luan is bringing a bit of sensibility. He said, even me as a rival fan, I'm very interested in Graham's list.
Right.
Liam has said, you can't argue the standard of football back then was very poor. These players would struggle badly in the modern game. Liam, let me school you.
How would they struggle?
Right. Hey, listen. Liam, let me school you. The standard of players then wasn't poor. The fitness was very different to now. If these players played in this era, they would also be unbelievably fit. You are confusing ability with fitness. Back in those days, players used to train, then go to the pub, then play the next day. Now that doesn't happen. But if you are saying that, are we saying that the likes of Pele, the likes of Garincha, the likes of George Best, Bobby Charlton, Bobby Moore, I could go on. Trevor Brooking. Were these shit players?
These players would adapt to the times, wouldn't they?
Of course they would.
Like the players now would. It's just
silly.
I just think unless you really know what you're talking about, unless you've actually seen him play and come from that era, I don't see how you can make a comment like that. That's
Pele,
rubbish.
Maradona, rubbish players. Bobby Moore, rubbish. Bobby Charlton, rubbish. Jack Charlton, rubbish. Who else was rubbish from that era? Garincha, Eusebio, Beckenbauer. You know, I just feel it's
some of the players now obviously rely on fitness and to get them through. A lot of these rely on quality.
Liam, last chance, then you're going. When you're saying Pele was playing against war veterans, this man lived in that era and watched these players play.
Yeah, but it's insulting. I think that's
all right. You're being blocked. You're a child. Please don't come back to my channel.
Get rid of him.
Please don't come back. Kane Legger said George Best probably would have been the best player in the world if he played in this era.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Different eras does not mean they were poor players. Absolutely. Aditya, Liam, please educate yourself. Otherwise, you will brainwash other people as well.
Yeah, just rubbish.
Sorry, keep telling us about Teddy Sheringham.
Yeah, I don't mind if people comment who've seen it. You know, they haven't seen it, so why comment on it?
Brian Daigle. Hello, Brian, all the way out there in Canada. I love Brian. He has said, at Liam, if that's what you think, Dave Mackay would make Vieira and Keane look like pussycats.
He'd have picked them up and thrown them.
Right,
Teddy Sheringham. Quality all-round player. Something a bit different as well. You got Bobby Smith, your bustler. You know, obviously a great goal scorer by stats. Sheringham, different type of player.
Yeah. Scored
great goals. Can I just say my team Dartford have just signed his son for the fourth time, Charlie Sheringham.
Go on, Charlie.
Class act. Got to put him in because he's a little bit different to the rest, I think. Not great pace, obviously. Don't have to have great pace. If you've got, it's the quality of the mind sometimes, the quickness of the mind. So in goes Teddy Sheringham, like Room 101, and the opposite of Room 101.
I think the biggest compliment you can give to Teddy Sheringham, Graham, is that both Alan Shearer, the Premier League record goal scorer, and Jurgen Klinsmann, one of the best strikers that ever lived, both said, didn't they, that Teddy Sheringham was the best partner they ever played with. You can't get a better accolade than that.
Didn't wrongly glance at Ricky Black's little list then.
Just Fly and said, if you want facts, look over the last 30, 40 years. In the last 10 years, we've only been out the top 6 once. The 20 years before wasn't good. Had a few cup runs and that was it. Just Fly, I've just told you the facts. Anyway. 5 trophies in the 20 years previous.
Under the Terry Venables era,
5 years. So all of these brilliant Spurs teams that you keep talking about haven't won a trophy. That the years 20 years before, we won a trophy every 4 years on average. Your facts don't add up. My facts do. Sorry, mate. Go on, Graham. The third one.
Right. I'm going to go for Clive Allen. Now, the reason for that is, he got, 49 goals in one season, which I think was a fantastic achievement. He played 135 games for Spurs and got 84. Now, if we're looking at strikers, that's one hell of a record, isn't it?
Run that by us again. How many?
He's got 84 goals in 135 appearances, and got all that many in one season. I think he deserves to be in the 10. He deserves to be in it. For me, it's only my 10, my opinion, my humble opinion. But fantastic achievement, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Got to know him quite well as well. Really nice fella. His son was really, really ill at one point. I used to meet him through the cricket circuit because his boy played for Essex.
Just quickly, got some comments on Teddy. It's important. Hasper said Teddy was like a number 10 before it had a label. I agree with you. He did what Kane's done last season. That's what Sheringham did. Just quickly, please hit that like button. We are 7 away. And I am 6 subscribers away from my target for today. So if we could please get that done, that would be absolutely brilliant. Graham, and guys, tell us your thoughts. Clive Allen, do you remember him? I remember him. Great goal scorer. Graham, your fourth striker.
See, what I've looked at here, before I tell you that, is also different type of strikers. Look how different these all are. Now, I don't know whether you've heard of the next bloke.
Just quickly, Just Fly. It may have been mediocre at best. It won trophies. If you don't like trophies, then you have the club you deserve.
Wasn't the Glenn Hoddle Gaza then? Wasn't that any good?
Yeah, the 20 years before Enoch. Hoddle, Waddle, Gaza, Lineker, Naeem, Samways, Richard Goff, Gary Mabbott, Mickey Hazard. Please stop talking nonsense, Just Fly. Yeah. You said you're 50. You sound like you're 12.
Don't stick up for Levy, please.
Oh, it's embarrassing.
The next bloke you may have heard of, his name is Harry Kane. Have you heard of him?
No. Tell us about Harry Kane.
Citizen Kane. I've got down here, I haven't got my glasses on, 248 in 386. You can't not put him in there. If I didn't put him in the top 10, I'd be lynched every time I left the door, wouldn't I? Going outside my front door. Fantastic. When you think, I was talking to somebody, I was listening to somebody the other day who played with Harry Kane on loan somewhere, and he said, to be honest, when he was young, he was a bad player. And a most amazing transformation, just given the opportunity. I think he's got a lot to thank Soldado for, because if Soldado had been any good, he wouldn't have got in like he did.
Yep.
Harry Kane is a shoo-in. Anybody want to disagree with that? The guy we just bombed out will probably say, not good enough. Harry Kane for me. Yeah. So
I'm just blocking that guy. Sorry, I don't need people like that on the show. It ruins it. It ruins it.
Been ruined.
Bob Coyser said these older players played on shit pitches, had no fitness, kicked shit balls in crappy boots, and still tackled, dribbled, and scored worldies.
A very, very good point. I'm glad I meant to say that, but a very, very good point.
Yeah.
Sand on the pitch. Right. The next guy, I think, was an artist on the pitch.
Is this number 5?
Number 5.
Not in order. Not in order.
No, it was an artist on the pitch. Was Alan Gilzine.
Cool. I've seen videos.
If you looked at Alan Gilzine now, you see who's that old man out there, bald head, used to get up and head, tremendous header of a ball, but he used to flick people on for people to come in, score quite a lot. I haven't got his stats down here, but for me, I'd have Alan Gilzean. I think he's again a different type of striker. Wasn't great pace, but I can see him now getting up for those high balls and flicking them on and heading them in.
Yeah.
Another different type of striker. 5 really different ones.
What was his goal record, Gilzean?
I didn't get Gilzean's down. I haven't written it down. Gilzean.
Was he a goal scorer?
Well, not prolific, but you know. But we're talking about strikers. Strikers, you know, you've got to have people like him in it.
Yeah, and of course.
Alan Gilzean for me, number 5.
Okay, 6.
I'm going for Big Chiv, Big Martin Chivers. Now I've got his record in 367 games. He got 174 goals. My memory of Chivers, if you looked out on the pitch, he stood out. He was a big guy, really big, strong guy. Could bring a ball down on his chest, hammer goals in, head goals. Really, I mean, he don't look any different. If you see Chivers now, he looks the same age as he was then. I don't know how, he must be well in his late 70s, I should think. But
just quickly, you've been asked if Adebayor is going to make your top 10 list.
No. You've got a simple answer. No.
THFC 14 has said, why was he booed at one point? I'm not sure.
What are you talking about now?
Who are you referring to, THFC 14? We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Paul Shepherd has said, when Bill Nick won all those trophies, that's Sir Bill Nick, he just finished helping win a world war with Eddie Bailey.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, when I was down in those trenches, you know, it was hard work.
Yeah.
To play football in a trench was hard work, a bit narrow.
Yeah. Go on. Sorry.
Big Chief, we're going to go. Now, the next one, I know, because people I think moaned at me last time and I didn't put him in the top 10. Jurgen Klinsmann is my next one on the list. He wasn't bad, was he? Number 7, I think that, isn't it?
Jurgen Klinsmann.
Yeah, I've gone for Jurgen Klinsmann.
Class.
Exactly. Class, all round.
Now, let me just ask you, before we talk about the type of player he was, Coover and I always say this, and I don't know if you're still in the chat, Coover. Brian Daigle, I see you in there. I don't know if you disagree or agree or anyone else. For me, Klinsmann was the last world-class signing Tottenham made. A player at the top of his game in world football.
Yeah.
I don't think we've signed one of them since.
No. He was top class, wasn't he? You know, he'd score great goals. Didn't he score some really good goals as well? He used to hammer them in, didn't he? So I think Klinsmann's got to be there. His book, yeah. So the last 3, now I'll leave one till last because there are a couple of others you could make a case for the 3 alongside each other. I've gone for a bloke called Gary Lineker next, who... You've got to put Gary Lineker in. Gary Lineker, what a tremendous striker. I mean, he plays himself down by, I was only in the box and just tapped it over them. He scored some great goals. Headers, strikes, you know. As a striker, he was the ultimate. Wherever he went and played. He went to Everton for that one season, didn't he? And got 30 odd, I think, in the one season.
Scored at Barcelona.
Cruyff put him out on the wing. Didn't fancy him. Played him out on the wing, and that's why he left eventually. I don't think... See, Lineker, in Barcelona in those days, with the great skillful players, he didn't stand out. So that's why they shoved him out to the wing, and then eventually he parted company with Barcelona and came back here.
Yeah. We are 1 like away from 100 likes. Please smash that like. And I am 5 subscribers away from my list. THFC 14 has said Berbatov has to be in this list. We will see. Richard Knight has said Chivers scored vital goals in cup finals.
He did, brilliant player.
Coover 99 said, yep, I'm still here, Savva. And yes, Klinsmann was the last jaw-dropping signing we made. Football Ferreira, go and follow this guy. I love Football Ferreira. He's a really good guy doing his thing over there on YouTube and Instagram. Has said that some of his goals were unreal. Kai has said, I saw Spurs the first time in the 1987 summer in Finland pre-season tour. Loved every minute. Game ended 3-3. With Finnish All-Star Region team. Loved that I got to saw Ozzy Ardiles live before he ended his career. Graham, who's the next one?
Number 9. Now, the choice here, I've gone for Dimitar Berbatov. Not because that person just said. Again, I had Jermaine Defoe, Robbie Keane up alongside him, and it's hard to choose between them, really. I love Defoe, and it hurts me not to put him in the 10. But Berbatov, again, had something different. I've tried to go for different type of strikers. But Berbatov, again, he's a bit like Sheringham, wasn't he? Nothing at 100 mile an hour, but it was all sort of quality on the ball, nice touches and bringing other people into the game. And like Sheringham, went to Manchester United and carried it on, didn't he, there? So I've gone for Dimitar, which obviously is going to please somebody, as my number 9 of the number 9s.
Sorry, just quickly, just Fly. You don't have to be here. We're talking about our best 10 strikers since Graham's been alive. He's mentioned players in here that are recent, like Harry Kane, Jurgen Klinsmann. We just talk. If you don't like the show, please drop off.
Because recent would get in front of some of them.
But people like you ruin the show. We're just doing we've spent an hour and a half talking about our current transfer situation, our current squad, and now we've moved on to talk a little bit about some players of the past, some of the recent era. I don't understand your point. You don't have to be here and ruin it. Sorry, Graham.
Did you put Soldado in?
No, it's not that. It's just people like this. They would never start their own show. He reckons he's 50 and acts like a 12-year-old. Absolute moron, the bloke. Just leave. All you've got to do is leave.
Well, I come to the ultimate. Number 10. Wouldn't be number 10 in the order of strikers. 266 goals in 379 games. This has to be the number 1 striker for me that I remember is Jimmy Greaves.
Oh.
If I left Jimmy Greaves out, I was going to put...
but just remember, he did it against plumbers.
I was going to put Mark Falco in, but I thought,
So we've done this before, but just for anyone that didn't see Greaves, what was it that, first of all, how good was he in terms of, was he like a Messi, that type of player on that level, and what made him so good for those of us that would never have seen him live?
He had fantastic close control, which is the one thing that footballers have got to have, in my opinion. When he ran with it, he ghosted past people as though they weren't there. When he was in the box, he just create that extra half yard by that little, what we said of 9, just nick the ball to one side and shoot, rather than try and shoot through a lot of legs. Just nick it to one side. Ball fantastically under control. And another one who knew where to be in the box. And that's an instinct. People say, he couldn't miss. He was only there. Yeah, but he was there and some other people weren't.
Yeah.
Knew where the goal was. Scored tremendous goals.
Is he the best English striker and Tottenham striker that's ever played?
We'd have to be up there, wouldn't he? I'd have to sit and think. But I mean, Tottenham-wise, he would be my number 1 here. I don't want to grade these in 10.
No, you don't have to. I'm just asking, has there ever been a better striker
not for me
in England than Jimmy Greaves?
Also, that great point somebody made just now about the pitches. I mean, he used to run through sand. I mean, pitches like Stamford Bridge. I remember they used to watch the big match on Sunday afternoon. The ball would be on the centre circle, and there was no green grass at all. It was all brown. It was all brown. It was all mud. And these people are trying to dribble the ball through. Same as Bestie as well. Imagine what they'd be like on these pitches now, these billiard tables they play on now. No one would catch them, would they? I mean, Greaves would just float past defenders now, in no trouble at all, and put it in the corner.
So here's a question for you.
Yes.
This is not prepared, so this is off the top of your head. Is Jimmy Greaves the best player to ever have played for Tottenham Hotspur? Is he the best? Now, obviously, straight away that goes to my head is Hoddle and Gaza. And is Greaves the best you've seen in a Spurs shirt?
I did put him down as my number 1. Yeah, I'm going to go with him. Stands out. And I love strikers as well. I love strikers. But, yeah, you'd have to. I mean, it'd be hard to name someone above him.
Yeah.
Now, at that 10 I've picked, you could say you've got Defoe, you've got Robbie Keane. There's another guy Len Dukerman, I think his name is, who got 134 in 307. Yeah. But that is going back before my time. That's,
Jesus.
He was before my time.
I would say the black and white days, but I think you were the black and white days, weren't you?
I had a black and white telly when I was young, and then all these colour televisions you got now. Can anybody think of any? I mean, outside that 10, and I've gone for different quality there, like different types of strikers.
I think in my era, I think you summed it up nicely. My era would have been when I first started watching Spurs in the 80s. It would have been Clive Allen, players like Allen and Archibald and Crook, those sort of players. Then my era then went on to be Lineker, Paul Walsh, who was a wonderful footballer. Lineker, Paul Walsh. Then after that, it was Teddy Sheringham, Klinsmann. Then we went through like an array of strikers such as Chris Armstrong, Stefan Everson, Les Ferdinand. We had some shockers in there as well. And then into more recent times, a player who I really liked. He doesn't make my top 10, but I really liked, really underrated, I thought was Freddie Canute.
Yeah,
who
I loved it. Very
was, would it be fair to say he was Berbatov-esque?
Yeah,
not
could run with the ball. Tremendous runner. I had Archibald down as my fringe. Actually, there's Archibald. I played with Crooksy, and the other one you said, Paul Walsh. He started at Charlton. I knew the chap who scouted Walshy.
Yeah,
and I've met Walshy. Smashing bloke. I thought he was one of the best forwards I ever saw play for Charlton. He had fantastic skill. Brilliant.
Yeah,
he had that complete spin turn where he's just spun on the ball completely. Class act, but. Beating that 10, I don't know. You'd have to,
somebody. Okay, so let's have a look here. We've got some trolls. These are robot trolls. Just to they say, hello, Trevor Carota. Right, THFC has said Rebrov, Mido, Gary Doherty. Oh, the list goes on.
This is the worst 10, is it?
HJD has said honourable mentions would be for Keane and Defoe for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
I think Keane and Defoe suffered from playing at the same time. I think if they'd not been there at the same time, I think they probably would have got more goals.
Robbie Keane. I mean, I remember one goal he got against Leeds at White Hart Lane. I mean, God, blimey, O'Reilly's. He was a brilliant player, Keane. Yeah, and you could say he should have been in my 10.
Eddie Martin Chivers was in there. Yes, Graham did mention
big
Chivers. Paul Pablo has said, what about Mark Falco?
No, it wouldn't have been as good as
that. He's just saying, anyone remember Mark Falco?
Yeah, I remember Mark Falco.
Canute at Seville with Luis Fabinho, what a duo. Len Dukerman, 51 league title side. I mean, gee, that's even older than Graham.
Well, it is. I wasn't born in 51. I may look as though I was 1851, I feel like sometimes. But Len Duke, I thought I'd put a mention to him because it's not all about now. And coming back to this pitches thing is so important.
Yeah.
These lovely pitches they play on now. And we're not allowed to compare them with these plumbers. I just found that unbelievable. That can't be someone who knows anything about football at all.
The problem is as well is they were pros back then. Just because they'd lived a different lifestyle doesn't mean they weren't pros and they were all plumbers.
A lot of players used to cycle to the games and tie their bike up against the fence and go in and play. Those were the days. Sorry.
Luana said, Savva, please give us your top 10. Okay. I mean, my top 10 will be different to Graham's purely because of
not so old as me.
Not so old. So, I mean, straight away, look, I'd love to turn around and say Greaves. I've not watched Greaves. From what I've seen, it has to be Greaves. But mine would be Kane, not in any order, Kane, Klinsmann, Berbatov, Sheringham, Keane, Defoe, Canute, Clive Allen. I can't think. I mean, other than that, I don't think we've had great. I don't think outside. I thought... I don't know, really. I mean, can you think of...
There was a Paul Moran play.
Paul Moran. Guys, get your questions in. We're going to go for another 10 minutes. So please get any questions in. It's difficult. I haven't got that prepared, my top 10, but I'm just looking at...
Not far different, really, is it?
I actually, if anyone cares, I think we did this a while back, but I've got some stats that I put together on our Premier League era goal ratios. Would anyone like those? I'll go through those. Before I do, Danny Thompson said, big up Savva. Danny, big up to you as well. Thank you, everybody. We have managed to get to 105 likes, which is very much appreciated. I am 3 subscribers away from where I want to be. Can 3 of you please just go over right now and subscribe? It does help. Graham. Paul Shepherd has said, Graham, can you comment on John White, please?
Didn't see a lot of him. He was really in my first era. A lot of people rated John White. He was a classy player. Tragically killed on the golf course. What a place to go. Struck by lightning. I can't. My memories of him are not so clear, but was very, very highly rated. Good player. So
I'm going to go through some stats here. These are facts and stats, right? Before anyone goes, "Oh, you're lying." These are facts and stats. Football Forever has said it. Please subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. Paul is very disappointed in us. We didn't add Andy Booth to the list.
He's in my worst 10.
Along with Dave McEwen.
Yes, I remember Dave McEwen.
Who remembers Dave McEwen? Yes. Don't say. Who remembers Dave McEwen and who remembers where we signed him from? No Googling. Who can tell us? Chris Armstrong. Funny you mentioned Chris Armstrong. We're going to come to him in a second. Luciana said, do you think Modric would go on achieving what he did when you watched him play for Spurs? Yes. He was a different class for me, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Stood out like a sore thumb.
Clever player.
Yeah. And fair play to Redknapp. Moved him from the left wing into centre mid. And he was brilliant. Right, here you go. Party after party. I never know what version of you I'm going to get. Welcome to the show. How are you, sir? Here we go. This is in the Spurs Premier League era, our goal scorers. Yeah. Best ratios. Are you ready for this? This isn't my list. This is facts, isn't it, Graham? I put this together.
Yep.
Right. This, Marlon, a view from the South Stand. Marlon has said Dulwich Hamlet. Dave McEwen.
Was it?
Dulwich Hamlet. It was. Just down the road from us.
Dulwich Hamlet, incredible non-league side. They get about 3,000 supporters. If anybody's never been to Dulwich, go along there. It is an experience, and I'll say no more than that.
But if you're going for a drink or a night out in Dulwich afterwards, take your checkbook. It is very, very expensive. Right, are you ready? In 10th place, Graham, I don't know if you know this. 10th place, Les Ferdinand. Played 149 games for Spurs. Yeah. This is Premier League era, right? It was great for the reserves. 149 games, scored 38 goals, 26% goal scoring rate for Spurs.
I thought he was an excellent player.
Soles.
Tremendous quality.
I feel like we got him at the end of his career.
Yeah, cool. I'd like to see him in his prime. I thought he's like... I mean, when he got the ball and ran with it, he was unbelievable. It's like Usain Bolt with the ball at his feet, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Remember that chap next to him said, if Ferdinand's the answer, what is the question? He used to say every game, didn't he?
We had this guy every game. We sat next to him, a guy called Malcolm. I think he's passed away now, bless him. We used to sit next to him every game. Yeah. You know, he had a scene to get next to ours. And every player he didn't like, he'd go, oh, if Chris Armstrong's the answer, what's the bloody question?
Always left before the end, didn't he? Always left. See, up you had to let him come past. He's a big fella as well. Trying to get past him in the road.
The number of goals he missed because he left at about 10 minutes to go. He missed so many goals. 10th place, Les Ferdinand. 9th place, Freddie Canute.
Yeah.
73 games, 21 goals, 29% goal ratio.
Stylish player, wasn't he?
Very stylish.
Used to get it, glide past people, close control again, coming back to that great asset that you have to have.
And HJD has said, if we had the Newcastle Les Ferdinand, we'd have been laughing. Yeah. Correct. JC Neves has said, so powerful in the air. Absolutely. In 8th place, Chris Armstrong. 173 games. Yeah. 62 goals. Yeah. 36%. It's not a bad goal scoring record.
When you looked at him playing, he was one of those, but another ball in the China shop, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He got it and the ball was bobbling about. But not a bad goal scoring record, really. He did well for Spurs, I thought, Chris Armstrong. Played for Palace as well, didn't he?
If anyone cares, Cameron Smith is leading the Open on 10 under.
My tip to win it, by the way.
And Tiger Woods is going to miss the cut. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. In 7th place, Hong Min Sun. Yeah. 319 games for Spurs. Yeah. 125 goals, 39% goal rate. Very good. Very good rate.
Yeah.
Doesn't make the top 6. Doesn't make the top 6.
There you go. It's surprising that, isn't it? But he's,
Yeah. Here you go. Does that surprise anyone? that Son's not higher. In joint fifth, we say fifth and sixth.
Yeah.
Jermaine Defoe, 362 games, 143 goals, 40% goal scoring record. And joint with him is Keane with 306 games, 122 goals, 40% goal scoring record.
Isn't it? Very interesting. Those two should be close together. As you say, they both came at the same time, didn't they? I mean, Harry used to say about Defoe, best striker in the league, and he'd be sub on the Saturday, wouldn't he?
Absolutely. I think we can guess the top four. In fourth place is Teddy Sheringham. 277 games, 124 goals, 44% rate.
Quality.
Now, considering that his game wasn't always just up the top, phenomenal.
So many others. That's if you've got all that control and laying the ball off and link-up play, but you can also score goals, blimey, you're half an asset to a side, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Third place, any guesses? Shall I tell you?
No, go on.
Third place, Dimitar Berbatov.
Yeah.
102 games, 46 goals, a 45% goal scoring record.
I was right putting him in our top 10.
Brilliant
top
player.
10, he was
just elegant.
Another one like Teddy, he had every other aspect of the game and could score goals.
Yeah.
There are some players who are goal scorers. There are some players who are good at holding it up and laying it off. To be good at both takes something. And Sheringham and him would be, and Berbatov, equal on that.
We are finishing in 5 minutes. Can I please get 2 more subscribers? That's all I want. 2 more subscribers. That's all I ask. And please let me know when you've done it. Let's have a look at number 2. At number 2 in the Premier League era is Jurgen Klinsmann.
Really?
68 games, 38 goals, a 56% goal record.
Tremendous, yeah. Yeah.
That's just...
you can't argue against it, can you?
Can't. This is why sometimes when I'm on shows and I say things like, oh my God, Teddy Sheringham was class, and I get people going, oh yeah, but he wasn't as good as this and that, and Berbatov wasn't as good as this and that. You look at some of this, some of their figures were amazing. And before I go on to some honourable mentions, Harry Kane.
Was he number 1?
Harry Kane was number 1. 380 games, 243 goals, 64%. 64%. That means he has a 25% finishing ratio above Son.
I think he's had an amazing career. When you think he's come from nowhere, hasn't he? No one rated him at all.
Yeah.
He went to Leighton Orient, didn't he? Leicester on loan, Millwall, Norwich, and didn't do that much at any of the 4. Then suddenly he's given that. I mean, Tim Sherwood suddenly gets that opportunity and just takes off. How many other players could have done that and were blocked from doing it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he's amazing and top bloke as well. Absolutely,
he's a lovely guy.
Smashing bloke.
As well, I will hold my hands up here. When I watched Harry Kane when he was younger, I remember I was with Woody, one of my best mates, Woody. We were actually betting at the time. We were watching the England under-21s in a tournament, and Kane missed chance after chance. He looked awful. And I turned around to Woody and I said, that guy is never going to make it at Tottenham. He is dreadful. So you've got to hold your hands up.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's the same with Spence. But let's just add in a few honourable mentions. Yeah. So if we look at Spurs' honourable mentions, Clive Allen, 105 games, 69 goals, which was a 57% ratio. That would put him second. And Jimmy Greaves.
What?
Jimmy Greaves, 381 games, 258 goals, a 70% goal scoring record.
What was Harry's?
64%.
So there you go.
Just wow.
Different eras, I know, to compare, but you still got to put the biscuit in the basket, we said, haven't we?
And
biscuit in the basket.
Yeah, and Hotspur, he said, did Clive Allen score 49 goals in one season?
He did.
He did indeed.
Yeah, he did,
87?
Well, I can't remember the year, but I remember him doing it.
I want to say 87. Can someone Google that? I think it was 87.
He went to Arsenal, was there for a couple of weeks when he went
to Arsenal.
He didn't stay long, did he? He went to QPR, didn't he?
Would anyone like to guess what Alan Shearer's record is? Alan Shearer's record. So Alan Shearer had a 52% goal rate, but over hundreds of more games than any of the others.
Yeah.
So Alan Shearer, 734 games, 378 goals, 52%. So just over 1 in every 2 games.
Fantastic player.
Now, you think Shearer played 734 games, and I swear to God, I remember him being injured for seasons at a time.
Yeah, I remember him playing for Southampton when he first started, wasn't it?
Bob Coy's Harry Kane every year. Haters say he's a one-season wonder. Yeah, I remember that.
It will never last.
Listen, we are going to jump off. Look, I think it's been a great show. Apologies if anyone doesn't like some of the more nostalgic stuff. I just think it's really important that as a club, as a fan base, we remember that. Because remember, the stadiums, the Contes, the Kanes, these players don't exist at Spurs without what these players before did for this great football club.
Yeah,
am I right?
Absolutely. Different game now, isn't it, altogether? Really, isn't it? Different game.
Of course. And I'm going to ask 2 subscribers away. Are you telling me 2 of you can't be that stingy? So just jump on and subscribe. It's been a great show. There's still 100 of you in it. We are going to go. I am going to go to the pub. I fancy a drink. Graham, as always, thank you so much for bringing your knowledge.
Well, I think it's interesting for me. I mean, you know.
You
can't talk about Spence all day, can we?
No, we tried our best. Look, I think you bring valuable knowledge. You know your football. You've worked in professional football for years. You get it. I apologise on behalf of idiots who want to say, oh, nostalgia and this and that, but it is what it is. Everyone's showing their appreciation for you in the chat, which is brilliant. Thank you very much, guys. I will be live next on Sunday night with the Spurs Corner. Henry and I will be doing our new show, which debuted this week, which is Savva and Wright live tonight, about all of the Premier League clubs, signings, fixtures, results. Much love. Hare Krishna. I will see you all very, very soon. Take care.
Thank you very much, everybody. Bye.